Howdy, gamers. Oh, it's been a few weeks. Hello, gamers. We're going with really chill vibes today, so I hope you guys are down for that. Welcome, welcome. I have a lot to jump into. Like, a lot to jump into. So, yes, let's behave, please. First off, moderators are at the ready. Please just don't try your luck today. Yeah, we will talk about everything in just a moment. We'll just get everybody in. Welcome, welcome. Happy Sunday. Happy second week of 2025. It's been an interesting year so far. Hope you're all doing well. Hope we're all surviving as well as we can. Yes, yes. Okay, guys. So, let's see here. Well, I got a lot to talk about because I missed like almost 2 weeks worth of streaming. We're going with some chill vibes today, chill vibes. We're gonna listen to some campfire and some calming Zelda music to hopefully keep the mood where it needs to be. In case you are confused about what is going on, if you were here in the last live stream where I attempted to do this very same concept, we had some not fun times. We had some not fun times, and I had to end the stream because of disrespect. That being said, please be cautious during the live stream with your commentary. Just because you donate, that doesn't mean you get to be disrespectful. Just as a reminder as well. It's been 2 weeks since I've streamed, yes. I tried to stream previous week, and then I just skipped streaming last week because I was intimidated, I'm not going to lie to you. So, one of the first things I want to talk about that kind of got lost in the last live stream was that my brother, Rocky, and or Evan, whatever you want to call my brother, I call him Evan, but you guys know him as Rocky so far in the Persona project. You guys can draw him. He's given you full permission to draw any of his arrows as they come up. So you'll be able to draw Rocky, you'll be able to draw Blue Jay, you'll be able to draw all the different variants, Aura, all of those guys. So that's cool. So that fan art is totally allowed for just me and my brother, which is kind of cool. So that's kind of a fun thing. I've been listening to this Zelda music for like days straight, so yes, this is why I'm spreading it. It's so beautiful and wonderful and I love it. That's one fun thing I wanted to get out there because I know a lot of people are very concerned about the boundaries with fan art, which is very nice and I very much appreciate you guys caring about that kind of thing. So yes, you guys can draw Rocky in all of Evan's different eras, which is cool. The other thing is that we are going to talk about year 6 today. And obviously, please pay attention to when I put content warnings on the screen and when I warn you about certain things that I'm going to talk about. Obviously, this is with anything with Persona Project. It's very personal, very serious, very true to life. So just be warned, we are going to get into some stuff today. And oh boy, we already got things happening. Okay, hold on, let's go on over here. Go to our regular screen. Thank you guys so much for the fan art. It's been so freaking cool. I've been changing the fan art on my desktop background every day to something different, and all of the support has been so freaking wonderful and nice. And that's mainly the reason why I've decided to continue to do live streams and continue to push forward despite all of the disrespect. Because honestly, there is way more people who are kind-hearted than not. And I'd rather focus on you guys because you're awesome, and I really appreciate you. And I just miss doing this, so I'm gonna do the thing like Parker had to do in high school where we ignore the bullies, we don't let them get to us, because if we do, we're giving them the reaction they want. So that's no longer happening here. I have learned, I have grown, and now we are so back, gamers. We're so back. So, if you want to submit fan art, check the description. There's a link. You can submit a Google form. Please only submit one per piece. I see like a ton of people trying to submit like 5 or 6 times the exact same piece of artwork. I can see that. I can see that. It's going through. I promise. I see it. I see it. So yeah, just be cautious with the poor old Google form, all right? And please don't spam question, guys. I'm doing a whole lot of talking and a whole lot of showing the artwork and stuff, so sometimes I miss things. Try not to be too repetitive with questions today. I will try to get to some of them. It's not guaranteed. We got a little donation. I will go ahead and play that. It was on earlier when I was doing other spiels.
SpongeBob, hey Patrick. What am I now? Patrick, joy and happiness? SpongeBob, no. I'm Fry's money. Patrick, what's the difference? LOL.
Tyler! Tyler, you have the #1 jokes when it comes to donating for French fry money. That is so awesome. Every week you're so creative. It makes me so happy. Thank you, Tyler. But yeah, if you guys want to donate to the stream, you can either super chat or go in the link in description. A silly little text-to-speech voice will read out your message. And it's all fun, and it supports everything that I do. And I can make animations and, you know, continue to do a lot of fun things on this channel. So, with that being said, oh, I saw a great question right off the bat. Did I ever start a lemonade stand? You're funny! You think Wild Child would do something so normal as to start a lemonade stand? No, silly. That child started a lunch meat stand. I started a lunch meat stand where I sold individual slabs of lunch meat. Not lemonade. No. That would be too normal. The lunch meat stand was so stupid, Your Honor. I'm surprised I didn't make an episode about it. This is so silly, dude. Watch out, really grabbed all the lunch meat out of the drawer and went, I'm gonna sell that. And sat on the side of the road and was like, anybody want ham or bologna? And absolutely no one bought anything, of course. Because what? Because what? If I saw some small deranged child on the side of the road selling meats, I would be like, no thank you. Like, that is the shadiest thing. It's so funny, dude. I'm genuinely kind of mad that I didn't make an episode about that. Wow, I should have. SMH. But oh well. Oh god. Anyways. Yes, guys, let's talk about year 6, because it's been a while since I've completed year 6, but I want to make sure we touch base. And I want to make sure that we're talking about all of the things that have happened in the past year of Persona, because we are already getting into some really crazy year 7 stuff, and I don't want this to be lost because of that. So, okay. This episode we're going to talk about is justice. It's about bullying. I was very heavily bullied as a kid, unfortunately. Just being neurodivergent, I was kind of coded for this, unfortunately, but oh my goodness.
I can't stay for the whole stream, unfortunately. I have work, but wanted to pop in and support my favorite person.
Oh.
Also, I love the meat stand XD. Hope you are well.
Oh, Raven Nightshade, thank you so much. That's so freaking sweet, dude. Oh, thank you for the support, dude. I really appreciate it. I'm doing pretty well. I do have, okay, I guess before I start the spiel on the Justice episode, Justice was served to me, actually, for once in my life. If you didn't know, I recently got diagnosed with another lifelong uncurable chronic illness. Thumbs up emoji. Yay. I've been going to a lot of specialists, I've been getting a lot of things figured out, I'm getting a lot of diagnoses. With those diagnoses, obviously come treatments. And the treatment that I was, told to follow was not approved by my health insurance. Because America bottom text. And so I have been fighting tooth and nail for about a month to get this medication. And guess what? It's finally here, and I am finally taking it, and it's making me very sleepy, but you know what? The pain is a lot less, which overall makes me a happier person. So, there's the good news. I have won, at least for a little while. I have won. And I am taking it. Oh, yeah. Um, boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. So, justice. This was a really important lesson for Wild Child to learn. Because the world is not just, and, you know, there's like this, always this like kind of like, I don't know if it's more of like an actual statistic, I don't know if it's just a stereotype, but a lot of people like to say that autistic people have a strong moral compass, sense of justice. Autistic people tend to be a lot more, like, firm in their beliefs of right and wrong, and I can attest to this. Like, living and breathing, I can attest to this, because I'm telling you, I had that sense of justice, like, insanely, insanely bad, and I still do. Like, I am still very much this way. And I think this episode was important because it was just, you know, it's the breaking point in which I realize I'm in the right and everyone else wasn't, but there wasn't anything I could do about it. So I'm gonna make sure when I show you guys all this stuff and show you guys all the little details and things you might have missed, I'm gonna take the text away and we're just gonna go into animations and look at stuff. So, like, first of all, the tiniest detail ever, Mothy's little apple juice. So cute. Love it.
Here, have this lovely giant puffball specimen.
Oh! Phyllis Ultra, oh my god, it's been a while. How are you, dude? Let's go. A giant, lovely puffball specimen. I get a puffball specimen? Fantastic. Thank you. But I'm gonna put it next to my desk. Yep. With all my other specimens. I say, staring at all my squishmallows. Oh, gosh. Okay. Thank you so much, fellas. That's awesome. But yeah, there's lots of little details of this episode. But these two bullies came up quite a bit. Snaily and this other kind of unnamed little crocodile kid were my biggest bullies in grade school. And they'll come up a lot more. And yeah, this is definitely like a core memory for me because up to this point, Wild Child had never really, like, done anything too abrasive. Wild Child had never really gone out of her way to be, like, I don't know, aggressive? Like, she's a very, like, gentle, like, nature-loving, like, kind of being. And you could just tell that school just flipped a switch in her. And you could see this in me today. Like, when I'm out in nature, I'm a completely different person than when I'm in a city. It's the same energy. It's like, when I'm surrounded by people, the irritability goes up like 10,000%. And Wild Child was not having it, and Wild Child acted on it. Because, first of all, I didn't have the lessons to not do that. Oh, Messy, I should name the crocodile Spike. That's a great name for the crocodile, because Spike and Snaily, they both start with S. Okay, that's fine. Dude, boom, done. His name is Spike. Thank you. Great, wonderful name suggestion. Law and Order that little brat. They are 6 years old, Your Honor. They're 6 years old. Okay, guys, they are 6 years old. Oh, God. Alright, guys, so yeah, Spike and Snaily were my biggest bullies, and I vividly remember going to this principal's office thinking, oh yeah, Snaily's gonna get in trouble, you know? Snaily's gonna get in trouble, and, like, finally things are gonna be better for me and Mothy. And this is the point in which I had to realize when my parents didn't show up for me, because I had very absent parents, my parents didn't show up for me, I was alone. No one backed me up. I didn't have any adult in my life to believe in me or listen to me as the victim. I didn't have anybody advocating for me. So I developed this really sad sense of injustice that just made me realize that I was alone in how I felt. Because these were Jolly Ranchers, and I want you all to know this because they're one of my favorite candies, and I love Jolly Ranchers so much. And I was so jealous that there was a bowl of Jolly Ranchers on the desk, and he gave one to her, which, by the way, look at her snide little face. Evil, evil, evil. And Wild Child's little death glare. Look at her. She's not like this. Like, this whole episode should be very much an eye-opener as to, like, this is not how Wild Child normally acts. And this is something important I want to talk about. I'm gonna throw up my little... Where's the content warning? Whoop! Content warning. I'm gonna talk about domestic violence. I'm gonna talk about physical abuse. When you got in trouble as a kid, when you come from a household like mine, it was very physical. There was no talking. Oh my gosh, look at all the notifications popping up. Thank you so much, Kanisha Hammond. That's so sweet. Oh my gosh, your first little dono, dude! You got a pink one. That's so cute. I don't know what determines the colors on the donations, but like, I don't know, man. It is so cool. Oh, thank you so much. That's so sweet, dude. It'll read out your message in a second. It has a huge backlog of subscribers it's trying to catch up on.
I want to send you more than $1 with $9,
Aww.
but my family won't let me do that. My time running up quickly.
Oh, you're fine, dude. I really appreciate the support, man. It's so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Oh my god. Sending all the hearts. Sending all the hearts. Thank you, thank you. And Moose Child!
Greetings from the void. Love your art and hope you're doing okay.
Oh my gosh, your first donut too, dude! Let's go, Moose Child! I am doing okay today, thank you, and I hope you're having fun in the void. You should invite us, that sounds fun. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you, guys. Holy crap, very sweet. Oh. Yes, I'm about to talk about some sad stuff, unfortunately. When you grow up in a household like mine, punishment is not verbal. The only punishment you get is very physical. So, when my vice principal, was like, hey, your parents will talk to you later, I knew what that meant. I was going to get my ass beat. That's what that meant. I was like, oh. Okay. Oh dear. Which is so distressing to me because I thought I was doing something right. But knowing that my punishment was going to be so severe, I was like, why am I being treated so wrong? And this is the point in which I went to grab a piece of candy because I was going to leave. I was told to leave, and when Snaily left, she got a piece of candy. So I was like, oh, well, when I leave, I should get one too, right? No.
Hello, Hawley. I just want to say,
Aww.
Gotta go fast.
Mario! Sad Mario, let's go! We do gotta go fast. We do have a lot of episodes to cover today, so I will be booking it. Thank you for the reminder. Thank you. Aw, Anna! Thank you for the dono too! You've been so freaking sweet. I love reading your comments, dude. You're one of my top commenters, by the way. Congrats on that. Every month I get to see statistics on my top commenters, and it's very cool to see who it is. Anna's one of those, which is actually kinda cool. Cool that you came up here. Alright, guys, so... yeah, I didn't get the piece of candy, and I was told, quote, I will get one when I'm in there for a good reason. But I knew I was in there for a good reason. Because we were being actively bullied by Spike and Snaily. And all of these injustices existed around me. All these injustices existed around me, and I knew that. I knew that from the get-go. I was 6 years old, and I was like, something isn't right here. I had seen so much wrong in my short time of being alive that finally, I started to feel anger. I finally started to get mad, because you know what anger is? Anger is a really, really great emotion to tell you that your boundaries aren't being respected, and that change needs to happen. Anger is a very important tool to your survival, and I think anger is a beautiful emotion. It is villainized. It is swept under the rug. It is bottled up, and I do not want it to be that way ever. Like, you will see in Blackbird's era, I'm a freaking raging, angry person. Because of the events that are building up in Wild Child's era, I just explode because I try to contain it. Not healthy. Don't recommend it. I just think this is really important because this is the turning point. I feel you guys always ask, oh, when did the eras start to transition into each other? Like, you don't see that physically. But emotionally, this is where Blackbird's starting. This is where it's beginning. This is where Blackbird is starting to surface and go, this is messed up, and I'm mad. And, like, she's so real for that. Like, she's very reasonably angry. And Wild Child's the one that's like, no, I'm confused. Why am I angry? I did something wrong, apparently. I mean, I must have done something wrong, and she's very much confused and sad. But yeah, the anger is definitely more of a Blackbird trait, and this is the beginning of that. And yeah, I totally look back on that vice principal and I'm like, what is wrong with you? Because basically, from my adult perspective, Snailey's parents were very rich. They were very rich and very, like, pompous and very posh and annoying, and, like, they lived right down the street from us, actually, and they were, like, in this big house, they had a giant pool, they had all this stuff, and, like, they were just so, like, above where my family was, and it was just so obvious that the school system was just, like, trying to please them over me and my parents who didn't show up because they couldn't, because my dad was working super hard and my mom didn't give one flying fladoodle. So, yeah. Just a note I would like to note about that. I'll take my little content warning off. We're done talking about this episode now. And we're gonna kind of go a little quickly because, yeah, we do have a lot to cover. This was a big year. We had a lot go on. Next episode we're gonna talk about is Mothy. Mothy was my best friend in grade school. She was like my kindergarten, first grade best friend. She was like this little shy ginger kid, who moved to Wisconsin, ironically, which is where I reside now, and I think that's pretty ironic. We both ended up here. We'd play scooters, and this is a fun detail. If you guys remember the Bloom episode where Rothschild tried to give away her little honeysuckles to people, this is the first time somebody actually took the honeysuckle. So I keep details very consistent. Yeah, guys, if you're talking about ages in the chat, be prepared to be absolutely destroyed by the moderators. That is not okay to do anywhere on the internet. I don't know why you think it's okay to do that here. We're not talking about how old you are, where you're from. We're not giving away personal information, okay? Because that's dangerous. The internet is not a safe place to do that. Thank you, keep yourself safe, or I'm going to do it for you, which means you are not going to be able to allow to comment on any video or any live stream if you get banned, okay? Banning is permanent. I don't feel like going through and trying to find your name and unbanning you after a certain amount of time. It is permanent. Do not get banned because you are being stupid, okay? That is all. That is all I'm going to say on it. Okay. Now that I address the doxing situation that happens every fucking live stream. Jesus Christ, dude. Why can't people just be safe? I'm trying so hard. Please, guys, please. Alright, so... Any hoodly doodlies. Yes, this is the first time that the honeysuckle was accepted, so Watch Out was very happy. I want to talk about my Toontown character! So, my character was this plum-colored cat named Roxy. No other name, just Roxy. Roxy the cat. It wasn't like, you know, how you can have different, like, names, like Sir Roxy Pancakes or something in Toontown. Well, it was just plain Roxy. It was very funny. So that was my little Toontown character. One of my first little characters I ever made was in Toontown, which is so cute and fun. And this is where my gaming obsession kind of began when it came to, like, I guess what you would call more masculine games, because I was always hanging around boys in some way, shape, or form. Even my friends who were girls had brothers, and I wanted to hang out with them, too. So, like, I always got introduced to, like, both sides of the gender spectrum when it came to, like, pretty much everything. Toys, games, like, it was kind of awesome. My parents were also very lax on gender stuff. They didn't really force a whole lot on me, which is honestly pretty goddamn based of them, considering everything else they did absolutely horribly wrong. So yeah. Love Super Smash Bros. Melee. Still one of my favorite games ever. Oh my god. But when Mothy moved away, Wild Child kind of went through this, like, very sad, very classic, I feel, kind of childish reaction of, oh, my friend moved away, I'm super sad, nobody likes me, you know. It's just, it was a very, I feel, very normal thing to have gone through. I feel like everybody at one point or another has a childhood friend move away, and you guys just lose contact. I feel like that's just it's kind of like a canon event for all. And I feel I handled it quite normally. Nothing too abnormal about it, other than I didn't really have anybody else outside of Mothy when she left. Which is okay. Because, sadly, I was very accustomed to being alone. But it was just such a joy to have Mothy in my life the short amount of time that I did have her. And a lot of people were asking if I had this picture still. I don't. Sadly, this little photo that she gave me with the ribbon. I left it when I moved because I had to leave, like, everything that wasn't absolutely crucial. Because, as you'll learn in Haley's era, the way that I moved was pretty desperate and distressing, and I didn't really have time to bring all of my childhood everything with me. So I only brought, like, my clothes, my technology that I needed to do work, and, like, just a few, very few things. Small, tiny things, so... Sadly, this is not something that made it with me, but obviously I have a photographic memory, so I think I'll be alright. I remember it. That's what matters. I loved this shot of me and Wildchild looking at the memories together. And I love this idea that I have seen Mothy before, and maybe have missed the chance to be like, hey, are you happen to be so-and-so? Did you live in Florida by chance? Like, I'm too awkward to do that kind of thing, but it is a fun thought to me, to think that, wow, we live in the same place now. And then this last shot is just of this, like, kind of closure that they disappear, but it's a happiness. It's like a Wildchild's kind of waving, like, okay, bye, and I'm, like, seeing off my friend, and it's all good vibes here. It's like a acceptance that we reach at the end. A lot of people are like, oh, this is so sad, this is so sad. I'm like, to me it's not sad. To me it's like the best memories ever. It left off on such a good place, and I have fond memories of this, and I'm not sad about it. I'm actually extremely grateful. So that's what this episode was about. And next one is one that I got just so much attention was put on this episode specifically. And I want to clarify right off the bat, this is not rage bait. I don't know why I got that a lot. They're like, this is just rage bait. This isn't even real. I'm like, honey pie, sweetie, darling, honey gravy. This is definitely real. I'm sorry that it pisses you off so bad that you think it must be made up, but like, trust me, I'm angry too. It is real. I'm sorry, I wish it wasn't, man. It is though. So, this is the episode Grow Up. And this is something that, I wasn't originally going to make an episode about. But then I talked to my therapist. Oh my god, that bright side fan art. Ah! Sorry, I got really excited about that bright side fan art behind me just now. Oh, Matea, good question. I'm gonna be doing a video of Hawley's era. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video of designing every era, so don't worry. Those are on the way. It's just taking a while. Because I just kind of sit down sometimes when I need a break from everything, and I just doodle and design and try to flush things out, so it actually takes a pretty long time, and some things come quicker than others. Floundering fish honey gravy is not a nickname you've heard before? Well then you're outing yourself as not a Deltarune fan. I apologize. Because that is so 100% a Deltarune reference. Oh, goodness. But yeah, don't worry, design videos, I have a couple planned. Actually, the next one I have planned, you guys are gonna be so excited about! I'm gonna design all of my pets from every single era. We're gonna draw all of my pets, and I'll tell you guys stories about them while I draw them. It'll be great. I think you guys are gonna love it. Alright, so... oh goodness. So, yes, this rage bait quote-unquote episode, it's not rage bait at all. It just straight up happened, and I wasn't gonna make an episode about this until I went to therapy. And I went over the episodes with my therapist, because yes, if you are going to do a project like this, I highly, highly recommend having a professional help you. You don't need it, but I recommend it as a helping aid, as an adult who can guide you through this. It is very helpful. My therapist is extremely helpful about pulling out things that I didn't know I needed to talk about. So basically, I had pulled out the episode list for year 6, and I was like, okay, here are the topics I want to talk about and why. We went over them, and then she was like, I think you're missing something very crucial. And I was like, what do you mean? Because I want you guys to know that I have sat with my therapist for months prior to this project, and I explained my whole life. I went through all of these different life events. I told her briefly about each and every one of these things, and I just went over things that I thought were significant, and we wrote them down, and we went through the whole process together. And one thing that I guess I had forgotten while working on year 6 was, she was like, what about that time in art class? I feel that was very damaging. And I was like, oh, what? No, that was just me being a dumb kid, like, laughing at a stupid fart noise. And she was like, no, honey, I think that was, like, really harmful to you. I think that was, like, killing your whimsy type of thing. That was, like, that was something that was just so unjustified, and you, unfortunately, were so used to being treated that way that you, even in your adult life, are not recognizing that this was not okay. And you need to address this. And I was like, oh my god. Okay. Therapy moment. I have a lot of oh my god moments in therapy, but that one was definitely one of them. So this is actually an episode I recorded out of order, because all the other episodes in this year were recorded together. This is the one that was recorded away from everything else. Oh, thank you!
Hi Holly, I love your vids, hope you like the money.
Hope you like the money. It's a really funny message, dude. Thanks for your dono. It's your first one, Millie Doodles. Thank you. Hope you like the money. Yeah, it's Canadian! Let's go! I do love Canadian money! It's so colorful and fun, dude! Yeah, Canada! Alright, anyways, I got really excited about that. So yeah, this is something that happened to me. I was in art class. I had this crotchety, horrible art teacher. Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude. She was... Honestly, she was... Honestly, she was a drug addict, I'm not gonna lie to you. She was a druggie, and she was, like, really mean and old and evil. And I literally don't know why she was working around children. Like, I don't know why this was approved. I mean, Florida, bottom text, Florida, I guess. But, like, God. Horrible person. Also, this paint animation is literally so good. It's, like, 4 frames, so it's one of my favorite animations. I don't know why, it just turned out really good. I remember this exact conversation going like this. This is the most autism moment, dude. I was like, it farted. And she's like, oh, you think that's funny? And I was like, yeah, it is funny, and here's why. And I started to explain why it was funny, because I'm so autistic, dude. I'm like, yeah, it's funny. Here, let me tell you why it's funny to me. It sounds like a ketchup bottle, blah, blah, blah. And then she just straight up, like, grabs my arm. Which, by the way, content warning, this is a little bonkers for a teacher to be doing. She grabs my wrist really hard and drags me out of my chair. I'm pretty sure the chair, like, fell over behind me and crashed and was loud, and, like, the whole classroom was, like, dead silent. And she dragged me into the corner and sat me into the corner and was like, well, you're gonna sit over here and take an F because you want to be so childish. And I'm like, as an adult looking back at that, like, fuck you, dude. God damn. What? I'm so angry for Wild Child, it's not even funny. Like, it is not even funny how mad I am. Because it's just, what did I do wrong? I was 6, laughing at a fart noise. Give me a freaking break, dude. Like, oh my god. And that's the funniest part about this episode, is that when I was writing it, the whole part of me screaming at the teacher was not scripted. It was just me reacting in live time, realizing how horrible this was, and I'm like, what the? I just start freaking out on recording, and I'm like, the recording is so much longer. It's so much longer. It's just me going off, dude. It's just, yeah. So, this was a horrible thing. She did this crazy thing of just reaching across the table, assaulting me, and then punishing me for literally nothing, right? But the problem with this, and I think what's so important about this short in particular, is that it was so normal to me. This was normal. I just thought I deserved this at this point. This was just the epitome of what a guilt and shame core wound will do to you. It will make you think, wow, people put their hands on me and scream at me and treat me wrong because I deserve it. It's my fault that people do this to me. It was so internalized by this point that this is why this episode turned out this way. It was just... Also, shout out to Tyler from Texas, who was in the chat earlier. I don't know if Tyler's still here, but Tyler had suggested that I had blurred the flicking off, doing the bird. And I thought that was the funniest goddamn detail in the whole wide world. So shout out to Tyler for that. Because my friends do help me when I'm working on these episodes sometimes. I do get some support and sit on a call so I'm not so alone in trying to process this by myself. So shout out to my friends too. You guys are my whole world. I love you guys so much. Shout out to my mods and friends for real. God. Tyler's here, let's go. So, yes, this is the part where the background goes dark because Wild Child is telling me to stop. My inner child is like, no. We deserve this. We're bad. We did something bad. We deserve this. And I'm like, no, honey, no, we don't. No, we don't. And I'm trying to tell her that we don't deserve this. But the realization I have is that I'm not getting to her. And then I can't. Like, it's irreversible damage that I could not undo. And then I have another freak out because I'm like, stop hurting her. Why does everyone hurt her? She doesn't deserve this. I'm so confused and angry and upset, and why did these things happen to me? I can't undo this much damage. I can't fix what's wrong because it's not my fault that all this stuff happened. I'm just a victim, and it's so frustrating. Like, I don't want to just be a victim, and I'm pacing around. And Wild Child just says the golden line, the epitome of what everyone told me as they abused me in every way, shape, and form. They told me it was part of growing up. I'm here to tell you that's fucking bullshit. It is not part of growing up. It is not normal to be grabbed by people, to be assaulted by people. It is not normal to be screamed at and demeaned and humiliated in front of your peers. It is not normal to be punished, wrongfully punished on a regular basis, overly, extremely punished on a regular basis. This is not normal. If it is normal to you, that's not good. And this shouldn't be normal. Okay? That is the bottom line message of this entire thing. And all the comments were, it's rage bait, it's rage bait, it's rage bait. I'm like, you are missing the point entirely. You are missing the point entirely. The entire point of this is to prove this is not normal, and that this should not be acceptable. And that things like this not only happen to me, but a large portion of you. And why was that so okay? This is a wake-up call, and people didn't like the feelings they felt, because I bring up feelings a lot in my content. You're going to feel strong feelings when you watch Persona Project. And a lot of people caught on to this one. They were very mad. And I'm like, great, I'm glad you feel angry. You know what that means? Change needs to happen. But people don't get to that point. They don't have the self-awareness, the emotional integrity. They don't understand what's happening to them, and they just call it rage bait because it's easier to write it off like that and then swipe away and keep scrolling. And I'm like, honey, you need to reflect a little bit deeper, because we're angry because this isn't right, and we need to change it, and we don't need to have these things continuing to happen to kids. So, that was the message of this episode. It was just wild child telling me it's part of growing up, and I'm like, no, it's not. This is not normal. As we're surrounded by all these people who have wronged us, my family, my friends, quote unquote, on all of that, my teachers, my aunt's there, everyone's here in this shot. Because I'm like, this is so abnormal. I was gaslit my entire life into believing that my life was great and perfect and wonderful and that I should be grateful. I'm not. I'm not grateful. This is what I was handed. Are you kidding me? I deserved better. And I'm here to advocate for that. I'm not gonna sit down and say, yeah, I deserved that. No way. This is what sets me aside from so many people who are on healing journeys. My therapist told me this last week. She was like, the thing that is different about you is that you accepted that you were a victim at some point. And it's okay to feel victimized and to sit in the feelings of being a victim, because you are, and you don't have control over that. But there has to come a point where you move forward. And I'm like, yeah, I've always moved forward. I have recognized that I am a victim, yes, but I have gone, not anymore. I have gone, no, I am advocating for myself, and I'm not gonna sit there and say I deserve that. It happened to me, yes, it was very sad, yes, I was a victim, yes, but you know what? I'm not anymore. And I think that's really important. That's part of this journey. That is the thing that is so important that I cannot emphasize enough. Because a lot of people will stay in the victim mindset forever, and they will not get past a point to worthiness. And you are worthy. That's bottom line. This whole thing is about being not normal and working on becoming worthy. It is literally a journey of moving forward, no matter what, at all costs. And it is only going to get worse. And I apologize for that. We're barely scratching the surface of my life. It's finally starting to get to the point where, unfortunately, year 7 is a turning point for when things are no longer good. They don't go back. And it sucks. Really bad. Sure, there's some great things in between, but it is... It's for the most part pretty rough, unfortunately. Oh, okay. That was a heavy one. Mostly because I wanted to make sure people weren't misconstruing my words and my intentions. Because a lot of people, you know, these shorts kind of blow up sometimes, and then the people are just like, oh, this is just stupid, you're making this up. This is just a character. This is, you know, blah blah blah. But in reality, if you're here and you're watching this stream, you obviously care enough to know that this is very real. And this is just my life. I'm so glad some people understood the message right away. And it wasn't just, wow, this person's beating up this kid, that's stupid. Because it's so much more than that. Alright, so... I'm gonna leave the content warning up, actually. I'm gonna talk about some religious trauma. I'm gonna kindly ask for you to keep religion out of the chat. Try not to spread any beliefs. Try not to make it about, oh, but, and, oh, you know, Christianity is supposed to be like this, blah, blah, blah. No, what's not? Talk about how it should be, what it is. It's all circumstantial, okay? Keep your thoughts to yourself. I am just going to be talking about my personal experience. I almost wanted to skip this one. I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it on live stream, but listen. I'm being completely honest. I'm being such an open book here. I very much want to continue to be that way. I don't want to have to hide just certain things about myself because it's gonna make some people upset. Because at the end of the day, I'm upset, and I feel like that matters a little bit more right now. So, please be respectful to each other. I am not going to be sitting here being like, oh my god, this religion is bad, blah blah blah. No, I'm not bashing any religion. I'm not saying you can't be religious, okay? I'm just saying this is my personal experience as a Christian Baptist when I was raised around this culture and this religion, and this is my experience with it. I will say, I am not religious currently. More than likely, because of my experiences here, in this scenario I'm about to share. Just being blunt about my experience, and I don't mean to offend anyone, alright? I genuinely respect and love everyone here, and I want you to feel safe. And you are safe here. Everyone is safe here. No matter what you are safe here. Okay? So, I dealt with the greatest amount of bullying in Vacation Bible School. Because Bible School was one of those free programs that I got to be a part of. It was basically like I got... Oh, yo, Crash Zone!
Hey Hawley, just wanted to say that although your life has been not great, putting it lightly, you managed to turn that around and make some improvements to your life despite how many injustices you've got faced. It really is inspiring. Much respect to ya.
Oh, Crash, that's so sweet, dude. Thank you, Crash. Oh, the little wild child behind me. Oh, this is so sweet, you guys. I feel so supported. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate it, man. I'm just... This is why I'm sharing the project, because I really want people to understand that you can heal, and that's not hopeless. Because I've gone through damn near everything on the list. Everything you could possibly go through, I think I've touched base with at least once. And I'm okay. I mean, I have a lot, you know, wrong with me, but I'm okay at the end of the day. And I will continue to get better, and that's the important part. So, I got bullied a lot in these free programs because my parents couldn't afford to put me in childcare in the summer. Here's the thing that pisses me off so badly the most. My mother, I'd use that term extremely lightly. She's not my mother. That person, the person that birthed me, the birther, was a stay-at-home mom. Why was I in these programs, you ask? For her benefit. So she could have the summer off, quote unquote. I went through this stuff because the adult in my life who brought me into this world wanted nothing to do with me. And so I got shoved off wherever possible. And unfortunately that put me in a lot of dangerous, not fun situations. Vacation Bible School being the least dangerous, but still dangerous in the sense that I got bullied really badly. And there's gonna be some really uncomfortable things in this episode that are, like, very microaggression, like, very, very not okay things that were said to me, just as a fair warning. So, basically the story is, I was at Vacation Bible School, and we were sitting around this table, and we were talking about some, I don't know, some feast or some shit, dude. I don't remember what religion is. I'm sorry. I trauma blocked a lot of that. I apologize. But, we were sitting around talking about some feast or something, and we were eating, like plain tortillas, and, like, olives, and grapes. I don't know. Weird, random assortment of stuff. Talking about Jesus or something. And these two girls were so relentless. They were just like, no matter what, every single day I would come in and try to hang out with these girls, they'd be like, you don't have Jesus in your heart, so you can't hang out with us. And I'm like, okay, how do I get Jesus in my heart? You know, me being the autism ever. And they're like, well, Jesus should just come into your heart, so if he doesn't want to come in, that means that you're evil. And I was like, oh, well, that doesn't make me feel very good. So I'd sit in the corner, very sadly, away from everyone. And finally, one of the counselors noticed, and she came over to me, and she was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I'm like, Jesus can't come into my heart because I'm apparently a child of Satan." And they were like, "What?" Like, this poor counselor, I look back and I'm like, this poor counselor, this had to be so scary. As, like, a religious counselor, a small 6-year-old child, looking at you dead in the eyes and going,
I'm a child of Satan.
"Okay. Awesome." I'd be so scared. Honestly, I'd be like, "Okay. Okay, sweetheart. Yeah. Oh, I don't blame her for being a little unsettled." So... she made me do this, like, little, like, exercise where she made this up on the fly. I know she did. There's no fucking way. So she, like, sat there and she was like, "Okay, put both your hands over your heart. We're gonna say this exact, like, repeat after me. You're gonna say this exact phrase." And I was like, "Okay." So I closed my eyes and I'm, like, putting my whole little heart into it. And I'm, like, saying the words and I'm like, "Jesus loves me." And blah, blah, blah. And I'm, like, saying all this stuff she's telling me. And then... all of a sudden, I'm like, "Oh, I feel it! I feel Jesus in my heart!" And I jump up and I'm like, "Jesus is in there! I feel him!" And she's like, "Great, I knew that he could do it. I know that you were gonna have him in your heart. Let's go," you know, like, yeah. So I go back over to the girls and I'm like, "I did it! I got Jesus in my heart! Now we can play!" And they still hated me. They still found ways to not hang out with me. And it started to get progressively worse. It was like, literally, okay, this is a very specific memory. We were cutting out, like, paper dolls. Like, you know, like, the strand of people holding hands that are, like, made of paper or whatever? Sometimes it's, like, snowflakes. You cut them up out of paper, and you, like, pull it apart, and it's a bunch of people. Like, yay. I did that really, really poorly. Because I'm, like, I don't know, 6. And this kid next to me started freaking out when I did this, and was, like, basically making these claims that I was making little devils because it was red paper. Because it was red paper. I was, like, being called so... it was, like, it's so far-fetched the way that these kids would go out of their way to outcast me. And then the teachers were, like, sometimes did not even believe me. Like, the counselors would just be like, "That's not appropriate. Oh my god. This is a church of God. You can't be doing stuff like that." And I'd be like, "I'm not doing anything!" And I'd just be so frustrated. And confused. And this is the weird part. I got told on many occasions that, like, I mean, you've seen what I look like as a child. I had big, poofy, fluffy, curly hair, uncontrolled, not combed, very matted, very gross. Long hair, very long. Like, my hair is very poofy. I got so many comments about how I had devil horns under my poofy hair. Which, if you know that this is really, really wrong to say. And deeply rooted in something far worse than just disliking someone. This goes a little borderline, like, xenophobic, racist, like, undertones, okay? Really bad. Really bad implications coming from these comments that we're getting, okay? It was just so outlandish for, like, children to be saying these things to me. And, like, I remember being so mad, and, like, of course as a kid, like, I reacted as, like, a kid, and I'd be all like, "No, I'm not, look," and I'd, like, start pulling my hair and, like, trying to look and, like, show them I don't have horns. And then it resulted in eventually turning into violence. They started, like, pushing me. One kid ran me over with a bike on the playground, like a little tricycle. Just straight up ran me over, excruciatingly slow, on the playground. Like, just casually. Like, I was just so battered by this point that I was giving into it and, like, starting to fight back, and then I had to be pulled out of these classes. It was Very weird. For a place that was supposed to be a place of good, it was just... Yeah, I don't know, man. There's so much I couldn't fit into this episode, because I didn't want to make more than one religious trauma episode. I was like, look, I was just beaten and bullied.
Hi, Hawley. I had $5 to spare.
Yo!
Your art inspires me so much. I wish I could remember parts of my life to make wonderful things like you.
Aww, thank you, a woman. It's awesome username. Thank you, dude. It's okay if you don't remember. I have to tell my brother this all the time, because my brother went through the same things I did, but he doesn't remember. You don't remember because that's how you're protecting yourself. Your brain saw that this was too much, and your heart was hurting too much, so it turned it off, in the only way it knew how. So please don't wish you could remember, and please don't feel bad that you can't. You have to respect yourself and understand that that was the only coping mechanism that you had. And you need to know that it's okay to not remember. My trauma response was to remember everything in extreme detail. That was my safety net. Your safety net was different, and that's okay. I don't want you to feel like you're doing something wrong or feel bad about that. Because not a lot of people can remember. And it is just your response. It is just how you dealt with the situation, and I don't think that makes you any less. More worthy than healing, okay? Like, you are worthy of healing too. Even if you don't remember it, you can at least acknowledge that something was there to protect you. Okay, so yeah, bullying bad. Oh my goodness, guys, thank you.
What you do if when you okay, so he said yes, what go? Purple heart.
Look, what? Hold on, Captain. That text-to-speech did not do it for you. I apologize. I still don't understand. I apologize. Thank you for the donation. What would I do when I'm okay? I mean, what I do to feel okay, I could give you that much. What I do when I'm feeling... things that I do to feel okay, this project. And when I don't want to do this project, I work on other passion projects. Like, I've been working a lot on Brightside lately. I've been doing a lot of, like, reading. I actually got this book from my brother for Christmas. It is called The Gift of Fear: Survival Signals That Protect Us from Violence by Gavin Day Becker. It is a bestseller. It is a very, very, very heavy read. The first chapter was so triggering, I had to put it down, and I cried. It was really bad. So, very much don't recommend the book unless you've got the guts for it. Definitely 18 plus, really adult book. So I've been doing a lot of reading, video gaming, stuff like that. It helps me kind of decompress after all this. If it is a joke or a meme, I'm not gonna respond to it in that way. I'm just gonna respond very seriously, because this is a serious thing, and if we want to make jokes, you can go ahead and pay me for that. I don't care. I'll make money off of that. Haha, go ahead. But if you really think this is a joke, you'll be banned and you won't ever do it again, so... Just be warned, if you do things like this, I'm not gonna respond in the way that you think I'm going to, and then you'll never do it again. I'll make sure of it, sweetheart. Anyways. Yes, that was basically the premise of this episode. Was... Oh yeah, I gotta bring this up too. There's a little clip of this that's missing right here. It's like 17 frames. And the only way it exists is in this sketch layer. And I had to cut this part out because I was just so angry when I was making it. I had to honestly tone myself back. I had a line in this, and I do want you guys to know this. I'm being completely transparent. I had a line in this episode where I said, honestly, it's for the best. Fuck religion. But I was like, okay, that's a little abrasive. I don't feel like I need to say that. I was just angry in the moment when I was recording. It was an ad-lib. It wasn't even in the script. I was just like, it was for the best. Period. And then I went, you know what? No! I'm mad! F religion, dude. F religion. And then I was like, okay, that's really not nice to say. So, I do want you guys to know sometimes I will cut things. because I get really upset, like, and it's so emotionally charged, and then I go back when I'm making this, I'm like, whew, okay, let's take a step back, let's not be that abrasive. I still am open to the idea of religion. I'm not saying forget religion entirely, I hate it, blah blah blah. Like, no, even though it has been a bad experience for me, I do have a very long life ahead of me, and things could change. And I do not want to be that close-minded person. I don't want to sit there and go, I had one bad experience, forget it! So, this was a learning moment for me to kind of just take this little part out and go, okay, we're not doing that, we're not going there. I know I'm upset, but no. So, not everything makes it to the screen, just so you know. I do sometimes have to pull back. And I'll get rid of the ugly storyboards now. But, then we talked about the silly part of this, which was the comment I got that just keeps blowing me away. It's so funny, man. Oh, wait, are we doing a hydration check? Okay, hold on. We'll do that first. I have Gatorade today. Not Gatorade, sports drink. Because Gatorade has fructose corn syrup and I don't drink that. So we have healthier version of Gatorade. Dink your order, everybody. So yeah, just so you guys are aware, I gotta touch base on this because this comes up so much and it makes me laugh. I get a lot of very serious comments about me being racist because I make fun of white people. And I just, honey, sweetie, darling, honey gravy, listen to me. I am as white as it comes. Honey, if a white person can't make fun of a white person, who can make fun of a white person? Because I think it's funny to be like, this is white people activities. Because it's so embarrassing and cringe and, and stupid. And I'm like, guys, I'm not racist. I swear to God, I'm not. It's just, I gotta make fun of it sometimes. Like, I've gotta look at these people that I was surrounded by and go, man, that's so cringe, dude. This is so embarrassing. Like, listen, man. White people are not in the right, like 9 times out of 10, for one part, and I'm just like, man, I feel like just a little bit. Come on, man. You'll hear me say it in next coming episodes. I'm like, I said it like in the previous ones where I was just like, these old white people in my old little town made this railroad thing, and then I got another comment of like, I said, oh, like, you know, nothing about old white people is cool, Wild Child, and Wild Child's like, but you're cool, and then I go, dying on the corner, right? And everybody thinks that's really funny, and then they're like, they're sitting there like, oh my god, wait, but I know this cool white person, don't be mean to white people. I'm like, my guy, I'm talking about, like, colonizers. My guy, I'm not talking, oh my god. I am joking! I can't tell, gamers. Is it because I'm autistic, it's not coming through, like, as a joke? Like, is everybody just taking this way too for real all the time? Or are they just massively insecure? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Otherwise, I just gotta say, guys, I am so goddamn chill. Like, I am not sitting here being malicious towards anyone or anything, dude. I am simply joking. And in the area I was raised, I want you to know I was raised in an extremely racist setting. I was in a small town in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Florida, alright? It was like the most redneck white town I've ever been in my life. And I just gotta tell you that, yes, sometimes I say things that might seem inappropriate, but from the background I've got a foundation where I'm like, no, somebody needs to say something about this. Somebody needs to call out something about this. I'm just jesting and I'm just being silly. But I just want you to know the background I come from is entirely different. And sometimes I say things like that because of my background. Because I'm directly trying to mess with those people. Because I look back at this and they strapped these Velcro monkeys to fishing poles and got up on the top of the rafters in this church and like wheeled these like as fast as they could, like wheeled these like monkeys across the whole church, and people like screaming, freaking out. And it's like, how am I not supposed to make fun of that? It was all white people. I'm like, this is so funny, dude. Like, white people activities. Like, please laugh with me. It's okay to laugh. We can laugh. If you're white, you can laugh at yourself. It's alright. Like, it's not that serious, man. It's not that serious. So just, yeah. Just so you're aware. It is not. It's just... It was me adding a joke at the end of this extremely heavy and sad episode of me being horrified of my past and my weird town I grew up in that was so close-minded and so to itself and its weird, horrible beliefs, and I just didn't fit in it. I think it's just a great example of how I did not belong there. Oh, but yeah, just to address that, guys, Jesus Christ. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's go on to some happier memories, guys. Let's take that content warning off, because we're gonna take a break from the sadness and go on to some happier things. Alright, alright. Yes, yes, yes. Turn off the text so you can see all the beautiful art. This one is a fond memory of mine. Oh boy. We're gonna talk about the houseboat. Another thing about coming from my background. I came from the extremely wealthy kind of white Christian racist background, okay? A flavor, if you will. A very specific flavor of background I come from. But the thing is that by the time I was born, the rich aspect disappeared. Just a lot of it anyways. The one thing that we did manage to keep was this houseboat. I wouldn't consider it to be a yacht. Actually, holy shit, was it a yacht? It might have been a yacht, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, so we had this houseboat. And it was basically like this big ol' giant boat. Power boat, not like a sailboat, just like a motorboat. And it had this deck below that had 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, and a kitchen. It was like straight up a house. And the top deck was like a little seating kind of like, we had like lawn chairs, not lawn chairs, yeah, I guess lawn chairs. It was like fold up chairs where we'd sit around and fish. And my papa would take me out there all the time. We basically were off the Gulf of Mexico at all times. Like every weekend we go out there for fishing and swimming and all the fun activities. And one of my absolute favorite memories was when I caught this fish. And the fish, when I pulled it up, had a crab on it. It had this big old crab, dude. It was so cool. It was like actually enormous. Like the crab was so sizable. I'm like, why are people... mods, if people are doxing themselves at this point, just goddamn ban them. I don't even want to have to deal with the fact that people are being this stupid in my chat. Like, please, guys. Please don't say your age. Please don't say your location. Thank you. I know sometimes I bring up my age and my location, but guess what? I'm 26 years old. And I feel that I am an adult, Your Honor, and I am also explaining this in the context of my content. You, however, don't have a reason to tell me these things, and shouldn't. Please and thank you. Good Lord have goddamn mercy. Alright. This is like the second time I had to bring it up. Third time, I swear to God, we're gonna have some problems. I'm turning southern. Hold on. We gotta get the northern back. We're not going there. Alright. Don't get me angry. I'll go southern. It's not good. Alright, so crab got fish. Fun. Great. And then he took the fish off the line and plopped back into the water. And I was like, dang, my 2-for-1er, as my papa called it. I really loved the transitions in this one. Artistically, it was very fun, like the fish, and then the different, like, events we had. Wild child swimming in the ocean. I loved the shrimpies! You guys seem to really like the drawings I did of the shrimp.
I see crab. I kneel to crab. Everyone, kneel to the comfort crab.
Tyler, we just went over religious drama! I'm kidding, Tyler. I'm totally kidding. Comfort crab, let's go! Brightside fans, rise up, dude. I've got so many episodes backlogged for you guys. I'm so excited. Brightside's actually getting a lot of content coming up, just so you know. So excited. Oh, that's so funny, Tyler. But yeah, you guys seem to really enjoy the shrimp drawings I did. They're very goofy looking. For the life of me, when it comes to Persona Project, I draw everything from memory. I never go and get a reference. So, like, sometimes I look at things and I'm like, that is definitely— I don't know if that's what a shrimp looks like. I don't know what that is, but that's something I drew, and I'm calling it a shrimp. But this was a, like, thing I would do. I would grab the bait and I would throw them into the water. And I love this little shot of, like, the reflection. That was so cute. And Wild Child being like, swim away! And I'd, like, look at you guys and I'm like, don't ruin this for her. Don't ruin this for her. Don't tell her that the worms are gonna get eaten by fish. Or sink to the bottom of the ocean. Yeah, they could probably breathe. Yeah, they could probably swim. But are they gonna survive is the other question, okay, guys? I got so many comments, like, mansplaining to me that worms could swim and breathe or whatever, and I was like, guys, I think more so the point I was trying to make is that I was dooming these worms to kind of a worse fate. Like, I thought I was freeing them. And I was actually kind of low-key dooming them, and I was like, don't tell anybody, chat. Don't tell her that she's being— just let her live. Just let her live and do her thing. Thank you, guys. And I just thought it was really funny that most of the people in the chat were like, actually? Like, nerd emoji. Actually? Worms can breathe? I'm like, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that information. Thank you, autism community. Salute. I love you guys so much. I mean this in the most lighthearted way. I know you're just trying to be correct and tell me a fact and be like, actually blah blah blah, but I'm just like, guys, the point of the joke.
I see comfort crab. I see comfort crab everywhere. They rise. And comfort crab will rise with them.
Cameraman! Cameraman is always capturing the comfort crab. Cameraman is always watching comfort crab. God bless. I mean, comfort crab bless. God help me. So yeah, guys, just so you're aware. I know about the worms. Thank you very much for your concern. Okay, this is a very silly episode. I'm gonna talk about KO. This episode— I had this idea for this episode because I was on a call, like, several years ago at this point with the Brightside crew, my Brightside cast, and Devin Black was dying over this story I was telling. Devin was, like, dying over this story about how I was like, yeah, I was such a, like, dumbass kid. I, like, jumped on the bed and, like, knocked myself out with the ceiling fan once and just, like, nobody ever knew, because nobody ever checked on me. Nobody ever cared about being like, the kid's been quiet for a minute. Maybe we should go check on her. No. No. So, like, Devin, I was like, you know, Devin got such a kick out of that. I think I'll animate it. It'll be the shortest short I've ever done, but I think it'll be really funny because of how short it is. It just adds to the humor. So I was like, yeah, I'll do Wild Child jumping on her bed singing her favorite song. And she's, like, vibing. And then she just gets whacked by the fan. And then it goes black. And then she wakes up. Like, oh god, what happened? And she's just like confused. I love this shot so much, dude. The shot of her leg on the floor literally kills me with like the little star going around. And I'm like, too bad that didn't kill me. And in case you didn't know, that's a SpongeBob reference. That's 100% a SpongeBob reference. I'm looking at my child self like dead on the floor and I'm like, too bad that didn't kill me. It's so funny, man. I have to have fun with this project sometimes. Let me have my antics, please, please. Please let me have my antics. That's all this was. This is just me goofing. This is goofing. We're goofing hours, alright? Okay, the next one. Oh, content warning, big time. This one, we're gonna talk about grief floss, dead people, gaslighting, manipulating, yeah, all that fun stuff.
Fan 1 Wild Child 0.
What? That was a drinking break. Fan 1 Wild Child 0. Oh, I mean, yes. I mean, the fan did- that took me- wow, that took me entirely too long to process. I apologize, Captain. I tried very hard to understand that. The fan did get one on me. Actually, I'm not even gonna lie to you, that was not the first time that happened. So I think the fan has a little bit more, actually. I think the fan has more points. I'm not gonna lie to you, Do I like sharks? Yes, I like sharks. There's very few creatures on this earth I do not like, and they are very specific creatures, like cockroaches and horseshoe crabs. There's very few things I do not enjoy on this earth. You cannot- it's very hard to find things I don't enjoy. Sharks are things I very much enjoy. I have a shark blanket, actually. God, okay, so yeah, we're gonna talk about some not fun stuff now. Okay. I hope you can see the pattern in Persona Project. I do like a pretty heavy episode, and then we'll go into some lighter ones. And then we'll do a little heavy one, and then we'll go into some lighter ones. Because that's kind of how it felt. It was a very up and down, up and down, up and down roller coaster for me. So, here, we're going to talk about the episode Unsettling. This is actually the first episode where comments went off. This is the first episode where this is where comments stopped. And honestly, it's been a blessing for me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Having comments turned off has helped me dramatically. My OCD was definitely getting the best of me. Very much out of control. So I will not be turning them back on for a little while longer. I'm not comfortable yet. I still get comments, even on the very few things I allow comments that upset me. So I'm not gonna turn on comments until people learn to control themselves. Unfortunately. But that's why I do live streams, so I can still talk to you guys, we can still interact, we can still talk about Persona Project things, but it's gonna be the people who really care that show up. And the people who are gonna make the better comments, you know, who are gonna show up. So, this episode covers something that I don't feel a lot of people can relate to. This is a very niche, kind of me thing. Yeah, Blue Streak really says I really shouldn't turn them back on. You're so real. But I do believe, sincerely, that this is a very much a me experience. This episode is about, because it's just so particular. I did not make this episode, I don't make any episode to be relatable. I'm not like a content creator that's like trying to relate to you guys for clout. Like, I'm making stuff that's just happened to me, and if you happen to relate, great. Wonderful. In most cases, I'm actually quite sad if you relate. I'm actually like, I am so sorry. If you happen to relate to this, Jesus, I don't know what to tell you, man. I'm sorry. Like, I really, truly just don't believe anybody else has experienced something like this. It's a little isolating sometimes when I can't turn on comments because I don't get that. I miss out on familiarity. I miss out on solidarity. I miss out on not feeling alone. So, up until this point, a lot of my Persona Project experience is very lonesome, and you're gonna find out because this whole time I've been talking, the reason why I'm laughing and the reason why I'm smiling is because I'm like, oh man, you guys kept saying this thing and it's so funny, and like, I used to love listening to you guys, and it really sucks that I can't do that because of a small percentile that is absolutely ruthless. And one day I will overcome that. It hasn't come yet. I'm getting there, but I will overcome that, and I will stop listening to them and giving them my time of day. But for now, I'm so hurt, they're just putting salt in my wound, and I have to address the wound first before I can, you know, take the salt. So, ugh, so much water. I need so much water right now. Okay, so this is a very specific, again, oh god, I'm gonna talk about murder, child murder, family murder. I'm gonna talk about death. I'm gonna talk about grief. I'm gonna talk about gaslighting, manipulating, lying, weird family secrets, lots of really messed up shit. So please be warned. So this is about my aunt murdering her son. And the effects that it had on my family, obviously I did an episode about that in year 1. But this is just another kind of branch of the effects that I feel I didn't talk enough about. So, this is the episode where... this episode is entirely from my adult perspective. Now, Wild Child does not speak once in this, because this is entirely just a reflective episode from the point in which I am here now. So, this is just a rough episode about my grandparents being kind of sick and twisted, mentally ill people. And what the things that they did, how they affected me. So, basically, when my cousin passed away, these people, my aunt, my cousins, were living with my grandparents. They were all living in that big old house. And these two kids, my two cousins, had a playroom. It was like, it had a room that had a bunk bed in it, a bunch of toys, a TV, Nintendo, like, it was their playroom. And I can tell you it was theirs to an exact T, where they had cartoons painted all over their walls, and their names were on the walls, painted up there. Like, it was their room. 100%. And when everything happened, this is so sucky. This is sucky as fuck. Okay, well, sad FaceTime. This is very sucky, and I apologize that this had to be a reality, but my grandparents are some of the worst people I think ever. For this. For a lot of things. Just a lot of reasons. Very wishy-washy on how I feel about them, because you'll see I have a couple episodes about how much I love them and then how much they do stuff that I cannot understand. This is one thing I can't understand. Their daughter murders their grandson. Their daughter pleads guilty in court. And they spend, like, their entire life savings to essentially lessen her sentence to not be a life sentence. She gets 20 years, 25 years, something like that, I don't know. Either way, it doesn't matter if her sentence gets shortened, and it's fucking bullshit. You'll learn later. So, thank you, Dizzy Toon. That's a nice reminder. I totally should not apologize. I did not do anything. Can you see where that comes from? Yeah, this is, yeah. It's a habit. I thank you for bringing that to my attention, though. It helps me not be like that. I'm working on it, thank you. So, They did everything to save their daughter because they truly believed that she would not do that. But the weird, twisted part about all of this is that my cousin's father, who had just lost his son to his crazy-ass wife, who is now imprisoned for at least bare minimum 25 years, he was left with the kid. He was left with one kid. One extremely traumatized kid who did not get murdered. Okay? But almost did. And I won't even get into the other stuff that was happening before that. My grandparents just kicked him out. Point blank. Kicked him out. Just was like, not my problem. You're not my daughter. Even though it was their grandson, who they should have been so grateful that he survived. They kicked them out. They kicked them out. You want to know why? Because he freaking went against my aunt. Like, he went against her because she pled guilty, and he was like, well, then you're guilty, and I'm divorcing you. And I'm taking our one kid, and I'm running the hell away. And the parents did not support him. And they kicked them out. So there's that backstory I didn't include in this episode. And when they got kicked out, it's not like they had a whole lot of time to take their stuff. No, I don't talk to any of those people, Bubos. Just so you're aware, I don't talk to these people. I don't know anything about them. I think I've had 2 interactions with these people in my entire life, okay? I have been kept insanely isolated away from these people because of the gaslighting. You'll see. So, I only recently learned all this truth, by the way. This is very recent and new information. So their rooms were full of stuff. And my grandparents, knowing that they have burned that bridge so badly that there is no way they were gonna get their grandson back, my grandparents then decided to fixate on me and my brother, because we were all that they had left. They decided, you know, my other child, my son, my dad, well, he's great. He works for the family business. He has a wife, he has 2 kids, he's living the perfect nuclear family, he's a Christian, they go to church, he's doing everything right. He is everything that we've ever wanted. Maybe we've been treating him badly, because, spoiler alert, they treated him like shit prior to the murder. All of a sudden now he was the greatest person on earth, and now we're the replacements. We are the replacements. Except my family didn't move into the house. They still just played it off like everything that was in there was ours. Even though it was so damn obvious. Their names were painted on the walls. And, like, I remember as a kid looking at that and being like, well, if this is our room, why are my cousins' names up there? I was so confused. And so, this whole episode is just about this weird-ass phenomena of playing with this kid's toys, and wearing his costumes, and reading his books, and erasing his save files on his video games, and, like, it's a horrifying thing as an adult to look back on and be like, Jesus Christ, this is so scary. Like, my grandparents were mental, okay? Beyond mental for this behavior. Like, this is insanity at its finest. Like, they were just so, like, insane! Like, I can't justify why they would do this other than they were just, like, I had just lost it. Like, and the way that I grew up, I thought that this was my stuff. I was just like, that's my Robin costume. That was like my favorite thing to do, was wear that stupid Robin costume. I loved that thing. But I was always super confused because you know what was written on the back of the tag? Not my name. It was so fucking bizarre. Being raised in this murdering ass family weird scenario I feel I am in that is not just an average experience. That I can't quite put into words other than it is just unsettling. It is just very unsettling to look back and be like, whoa. The reality was that this kid was like a looming presence that I was just blissfully unaware of. And I just... This quote right here is something I hold on to a lot. I'll put the words up on the screen. All the good golden memories start to look different, aged with time and truth. Because a lot of my memories do age with time and truth. Truth being one of the biggest things that changes my perception. Perhaps if I wasn't so lied to, I wouldn't have to have my perception completely upright, turned upside down on its head as an adult. So, also, if you want me to explain in chat what's going on, just turn on the volume, my guy. I don't know what to tell you. This is the weirdest part of my personal life, is that I walk around day to day with these memories that Wild Child considers very fond. Like, playing video games at Nanny and Papa's house. Eating apple slices at Nanny and Papa's house. And I have all these fond, like, some of the best times of my life. And as an adult, I'm like, I'm sleeping in a dead kid's bed. It is something out of a horror movie. It really is. It is something I just know is just not common to experience. And it's because of that that I have to come to this kind of realization, kind of coping that, like, as a kid, this was my reality. I have this really dissociative perception of reality nowadays because of the way I was raised, unfortunately. Like, I was raised in an actual fantasy setting. I was living in a fantasy world because of the adults around me manipulating and lying and controlling everything to such a fine tea that I never once caught on. It's also the autism. Thanks, autism. Love you for that. I just could not, for the life of me, understand where I actually was. Because I wanted to believe these people. I mean, think about it. These people gave birth to me, they raised me, they fed me, they clothed me, they loved me. That much is true. They did love me. So it's like, what was I supposed to do? Not believe them? Of course I believed them. I believed every word they said. And that is the epitome of a manipulation. They manipulated me and my brother from a young age to trust and love them when they knew they were not worthy of it and they didn't deserve it, and that they were hiding and they were trying to replace things that they once had and fucked up. And that's what I know as an adult. And as an adult, I have to look down at Wild Child and be like, she didn't know that. And I'm not going to tell her that. I'm not going to tell her that. I can't. Because what do I do? How do I tell a 6-year-old that? How do I be like, hey, Nanny and Papa are evil, and you're very unsafe there. They're very sick, and you need to get away from them. The kid's gonna be distressed. That's the only freedom I had. I'm like, I can't do it. I look at this memory and I've tried to write an episode where I broke the news to Wild Child and I'm like, honey, you just have to understand that this isn't real. And I couldn't do it because I'm like, no, it was real to me. It was so real. It was all I knew. And if I go back now and I tell my inner child that this wasn't real, I'm gonna have some even more problems. So I was like, well, And then I just have to protect what's left. And that's what this episode is about. It is protecting what is left of my innocence, of my goodness, of whatever little good I had. That's what this episode is about. It is about understanding the rift of my life and understanding the fact that, like, a good chunk of it wasn't even real. And it's weird. It's so weird, dude. It is a weird sensation to, like, to know that it was fake. Like, the only other people I think I could ever relate to are maybe, like, child stars. Where I've listened to their stories and how fake their lives were and how their perception has changed as an adult. But I see a lot of people being like, just tell her, just tell your inner child, and I'm like, I want to protect her, and no, I won't tell her. So that is Unsettling. That is the very long-winded version of Unsettling, and it scratched the surface of what it really is, but I cannot describe to you the dissonance, the strangeness of it all, the unsettlingness of it all, just of what I live with on a day-to-day basis. It's strange. It's weird. It's wrong. But it's all I have, so you know what? We move forward. And that's just, ugh. So, after all that, let's go ahead and let's do some sillier topics now. Let's go away from the sadness, because I did this intentionally. Like I said, I decided to do one episode of a true good memory. An actually 100% authentic memory. That wasn't like gaslighting, it wasn't lying, it wasn't founded upon anything wrong. It's just, I don't know. There's something about this memory. This is one of the only memories I have of my entire family together. Of my mom, my dad, my brother, and me. And it's so simple and silly and cute. It's just Wild Child grew a little garden. We went outside, we dug up the garden, and we planted all these seeds. I got a big kick out of this. I thought this was really fun. That I'm like, here, Rocky, do the watering can. And then he's like, dumping it everywhere. And then I take it from him, and I'm like, no, you're not doing it right! Because, like, that's so big sibling energy of me.
Glub glub. The water is cold, but I must photograph the crab of comfort. Glub glub glub.
Oh my god, cameraman! Wait, you've been underwater this entire time? Dog? Dude! You're gonna get hypothermia, bro! It is so cold right now! You can't be doing that! Get out of there! Or at least get a wetsuit, god! Cameraman. Cameraman's committed. We need to give cameraman a raise, for real, for real. That's really funny, dude. Glub glub. Stupid Texas speech, mate. Glub glub. I love the Texas speech. It cheers me up. That cheered me up. Thank you. I needed that. That was sweet. But yeah. Love the classic, like, controlling older sibling vibes of like, ugh, you suck. Because I was such a goddamn brat, man. You'll see Blackbird's era, it gets so much worse. I am such a little, like, control freak. I'm so annoying. That's what my brother always says all the time. My brother's so mad about it. It's just the big sibling energy. Of all time. Oh, here's some little, fun little cameos. My brother used to love My Little Ponies. So I drew him playing with Pinkie Pie. Because he had a little Pinkie Pie he was obsessed with. So I drew these... I drew this, like, really silly newspaper. And it's like, breaking news! Cat cartoon from your childhood was made by PetPyves too? Because for some reason when this episode came out, a large portion of the audience was freaking the ever-loving hell out. Because they were like, holy shit, I didn't realize you made 12, dude! I was like, yeah, man. I made 12. I made Origins. I made your childhood. Are you a furry now? Sorry. And it was just so funny because it was just like, I was just, everybody at this point in time was freaking out about that, and I was like, why are we just now freaking out about this? This has been a known fact. You go on my channel, the first video you'll see is goddamn 12, like, I don't know. So then I also drew on the other panel, it's just like, oh yeah, and this guy stinks, and it's just a drawing of Imp. Because I'm so mean to Imp. So yeah, just thought it was funny that I was like, Imp smells, just in the middle of Persona Project. But yeah, the funny story is that we forgot about the garden for like months on end, and then it grew on its own, and I found in the very back, almost to like the fence, it was like this giant cucumber. And I was like, oh my god, it's so big! And I ran inside, and we were all like super happy with our giant cucumber that we totally forgot about, and it magically grew in our backyard. And this frame is the only shot in the entire series of our whole family together. This stupid ass cucumber. I hate cucumbers so much, dude. It's one of my least favorite things on the planet. But this cucumber is the only thing that brought us together. And it's so funny. It's just like, I don't know, man. Sometimes like the domestic normalcy of life, of growing a garden with your kids. It's just like, I didn't have a whole lot of this normalcy, okay? Everything I lived through was very extreme, and a lot of the time. So having something just normal? Having something just calm and just kind of like average? It was such a big deal to me. And it was just... This is such a good image for me, because I smile at it, even though it's a painful thing to know that it doesn't last. It is nice that I had it. At one point, I could go, we were together. And that's nice. I feel like my inner child feels very comforted by this idea. But yeah, we certainly forgot the fact that we're dealing with autism here, and I definitely was a cucumber hater, and I thought it was very funny that we were like, we're gonna have salad, and like, we're gonna put in a salad, and I'm like, I hate salad, I hate cucumbers, rah, crying, and then they're like, oh my god. Because that's just, we had something normal, and then it instantly became not normal, and then it was back to normal because it wasn't normal, which is just a conundrum, and that's how my family worked, and it was very cute, and I thought the episode was adorable. I loved it, I loved working on it. This was a very fun one for me, and just so good, heartwarming. Alright, moving on, we're gonna talk about Hit List. This is another goddamn hilarious one! I love this one so much! Oh my god, this one brings me so much joy. Many of you guys asked me if I still have Spot. My brother has Spot currently. My brother is holding on to a lot of my childhood stuffed animals, and actually in March, I am going to go visit my brother for my birthday, and I'm gonna go and get all of them back. I'm gonna get back a bunch of stuff that I had left with my brother that I couldn't bring with me. So I'm real excited. I'll definitely share pictures on a live stream when I do get them back. I will show you guys my Elmo, I'll show you guys Spot, I'll show you guys Sprinkles, my Webkins. I'll share all my childhood plushies with y'all when I get them back. But this episode is about my little toy Spot. Spot got taken away by the teacher, Miss Ladybug, because he was sitting on my desk. To be fair, it wasn't doing anything, and I thought that was fine. I thought if I could just have my emotional support stuffed animal on my desk, that'd be fine. Apparently it wasn't. She thought I was playing with it. I really wasn't. It was just sitting there. It was just supporting me. Because, you know, I wasn't allowed in special ed, even though I really needed to be in special ed, but whatever. So yeah, she took it away, and then I absolutely lost my marbles. And my poor mother was trying to get them back. And she was, like, fighting for her life, dude. It was actually really funny, because most of the time I was the one being screamed at by her, but it was fun when other people were getting screamed at by her, because I was like, I don't know, it's just really nice to, like, be like, wow, it's helpful for once. Oh, goodness. But yeah, I very angrily took the, it's just the funniest part. This book that I'm holding is actually, back in the day, in the 90s, we had little, phone books where you would write down people's phone numbers, because we didn't have cell phones that kept phone numbers in them. We had to memorize them or write them down in books. So this was a book specifically for writing phone numbers in. And I remember having it, but being really confused because I don't know why I had it, because it's not like I had a phone or friends to call. So this brand spanking new phone book I open up, and I'm like, this is gonna be my hit list. Oh.
Your family was together for the cucumber, because obviously, you were all waiting to hear a silly song from Larry.
Oh my god! VeggieTales mention! Let's go, Tyler. That's so funny, dude. Yeah, we were waiting and then it didn't happen, so we cut him up and ate him. Oh god. God. But yeah, so I took this, this book and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna very angrily plot against these people that have wronged me. Which is such another, it's another Blackbird thing where I'm like, oh, here it's coming up. It's starting right here. You'll see it. It's happening. Oh boy. And I was like, alright, this teacher's going on the hit list because she took spot and she didn't have a reason to. And like, I tried really hard to like emanate, like, this is like kind of emulate, not emanate, I don't know what that even means, emulate how I used to write as a kid. So, if you ever see like stuff like that, I try to write and draw how I used to as a kid to the best of my abilities. I don't have any of those drawings with me anymore, so I just have to like, you know, do my best to reference it. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna put Snaily in here, and then I started to go real crazy with it and started adding a bunch of people. And then like, I remember being so upset. I was in my room, I like threw the book against the wall and was like kicking my feet and like, rah! Like in my room over this. Like I was so upset and I'm like looking back at my childhood self being so angry and I'm like, hey, maybe don't cross me. Maybe don't upset me. Please. Thank you. Because there's a rage hidden inside of this child. And I just think it's really funny. I think everybody's done something like this. This is definitely one where I wish I could have turned the comments on, because I would have loved to have watched other people be like, oh my god, one time I put my sister in here because she was annoying or something. Like, I wanted to hear what other people's silly little, like, if they did this kind of thing. Because, like, I had a lot of my friends be like, oh, I did that! And I'm like, why did we all do that? Like, why was this the coping mechanism? Why were we like, yeah, let's just make a hit list? Like, what? God. Tea leaves, it's funny you say Hulk mode, because Hulk's one of my absolute favorite superheroes. That's really funny, actually. Oh, but that was hit list. That was such a funny, fun episode for me to do. Okay, we're about halfway there. I'm gonna try and speed it up, because I'm, like, taking forever. Next one we're gonna talk about is... touchy. So, going up the content warning one more time. This one's gonna be more along the lines of over punishment once again. Okay. It's just a canon event. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you. So, yes, this episode, Emergency, is about being overly punished as a child, and I feel this is the most extreme case that I can remember. From somebody in my family over punishing me. And I had learned in school what calling 911 meant. You're only supposed to call it if there's an emergency. Very clearly, obviously. And I was like, wow, how awesome. I'm so glad I learned this so I could be helpful. And, you know, naturally, being a child, I was like, well, does it work? Maybe I should make sure it works. Maybe I should make sure I learned it right. Because I was having some doubts that maybe I was going to be too dyslexic or just calculic and just mess up the number somehow. So I called it. I called it just to see if it would work. And they did. And they answered and they were like, hey, what's your emergency? And I was like, and I just like hung up the phone and I was like, oh no. Okay, yeah, it works. Good. I learned that it works. Lesson learned. Awesome. Cool. And then I go about my day and then like 10 minutes pass and the door knocks and it's 100% the police. And I'm like, oh god, I go running for my life and hiding. And I genuinely thought I was going to go to jail. Like, I was under the impression that I was going to jail. I was like, I'm going to jail. I'm going to jail. As a child, I was just like, well, I called the police when I didn't need the police, so therefore I am going to jail. So then I was like, hiding, because I was like, I don't want to go to jail! I don't want to go to jail! So I was like freaking out, and like, someone I think in maybe that, I don't know if it was the Peevlet server, the PetPyves Premium server, or somewhere, had mentioned to me, they were like, wow, you were like really distressed, maybe it was my therapist, was like, wow, you were like really distressed about going to jail. And I was like, yeah, I was very distressed, and whoever it was like, and no one comforted you? And I was like, that's when it kind of hit me. I was like, oh, maybe that was the reaction that was supposed to happen. Maybe they should have seen that I was already crying and hiding and upset, and that I was already kind of high-key punishing myself. And that maybe I just needed comforting. Maybe I just needed some reassurance. I think I had already learned my lesson by this point, but instead, I was met with, you know, what I was met with, which was my grandmother very angrily bursting through the door and chasing me under the bed, screaming at me. And, like, I was so certain that she was gonna, like, beat me up, for real. Like, I thought she was gonna put her hands on me. That's why I went under the bed. I went all the way to the wall, dude. I was all the way under the bed against the wall. Hiding. And I'm like, what an appropriate reaction from an adult. From a grandmother, mind you. An elder acting like this. So it's like, no wonder why the rest of my family acts like this. This is how they were raised. But, like, enough at the same time. Like, I'm so pissed. I'm like screaming at my grandma in this. Like, I'm like looking at her in the eyes and I'm like, you are so outrageous for this. Because it was outrageous. It was stupid and like she shouldn't have reacted that way. And I realized as an adult, the reason why she was acting this way, at all, was because she had some internalized fears of police showing up and being like, hey, your kid's a murderer, and you guys totally hid evidence and we found it. Because, spoiler alert, they did that. My grandparents hid evidence. I said that in like one of the very first years of Persona Project. They like straight up had evidence of their daughter's crime. And the scariest part is that when we get to Hawley's era, like 3 eras from now, they show it to me. They show it to me. So, they really, truly, like, I can't even get to tell you how messed up this is, other than I've seen it with my own eyes, and she had some internalized fear that they had found it some way, somehow. And that is why she acted that way. That is the way, as an adult, I view this situation. I'm like, you know, she was overreacting and being crazy because she was crazy. Bottom line. So, that was the premise of this episode. It was, you know, kind of like more of a reflection of, as an adult, and being like, this over-punishment is different from the others in the sense that it has more to do with our family trauma. Our family murder, that whole escapade was tied into the reason why this happened in particular. All the other over-punishments, I can't really get my head around. I don't really understand what happened there other than I was just a victim. But here, I at least have an understanding of why now, and that brings me some kind of peace. To at least know that I can understand some of the punishment I received from an adult perspective. And it wasn't all outlandish. And now we're gonna get into some of just really silly stuff. Like, I'm very excited because the rest of this is about to be lots of fun. So, bye-bye content warning. We're gonna talk about the episode ever! Girls! We're gonna talk about girls, and I just have to say this right now. Lots of people are confused about me. And honey, me too. I'm confused too. I'm always confused. I don't know what I am yet. I'm only 26, I don't know who I am yet. All I have to say is this. Right now, currently, I feel that I am aro-ace. I'm aromantic, I'm asexual. I am 1000,000,000% asexual. Always have been, always will be my entire life. And the aromantic part is kind of a new revelation. I just have learned a lot in the past few years, and I'm like, you know, maybe not. Maybe I'm built different. And that's okay. I still identify as lesbian, though. I still feel like I fit a lot into the lesbian culture, because I did identify as a lesbian for, like, almost 6 years of my life. So, like, I still feel like lesbian is a very strong label for me that I resonate with, where I'm just like, I am that lesbian. Like, I am that lesbian who can bake their own bread, and I am that lesbian who can fix the bathtub when it breaks. I am that lesbian who, like, loves to stare at buff girls and imagine a buff girl picking me up with her giant biceps and putting me on the back of her motorcycle, and she's like, let's go for a ride. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be so fun. And we ride off into the sunset, and I'm like, let me live my dream. Let me sit here and be like, wow, that'd be so nice. That'd be so fun. Girls, 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 I love girls. But I don't actually want that to happen. Like, I don't want to actually do that. Like, I would be really awkward in person to do that. So I'm just like, I like the idea of girls. I like admiring girls. I think girls are wonderful. I love girls, heart emoji. But also, I don't want to really ever be in a relationship. And I feel that's totally okay. So pardon me for having 3 labels. I'm aro-ace, and I'm lesbian, and I'm genderqueer. I don't know what my gender is. So a lot of people are confused about this. They're always like, well, you can't be a lesbian if you're not a girl. And I'm like, first of all, that's stupid and dumb and closed-minded of you to say. Second of all, they also like to say, like, oh my god, well, you can't be a lesbian if you're asexual. And I'm like, that's also BS. Like, not every relationship is about that, first of all. Second of all, like, god, the internet, bottom text, just... yes, I like girls in concept. Thank you. It's like, let me just be what I am. Please. Like, I know it's complicated. I'm just... sorry. I'm figuring it out. I'm sorry it's messy, and I'm doing it on the internet and live in front of an audience. I apologize. It's not gonna be pretty, it's not gonna be functional. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, I'm this thing, and then it's figured out forever. Like, maybe it's fluid. Maybe it's constantly changing. I mean, I literally go through eras. Like, dude, like, every 3 or 4 years my entire personality changes and I become a whole different person. I can't fucking explain that phenomena either, other than trauma. And sometimes my entire gender changes, my entire orientation changes, and I can't change that. Sorry, man. Hawley was bisexual. Like, can you believe that? I was bisexual at one point in my life. I'm embarrassed. Sorry, I love you bisexuals. I know so many of you and I love you to goddamn death, but like, I'm not bisexual. It's just embarrassing for me to be like, oh god, I really tried that. Oh dear. But like, it's just, it's growing pains. I'm going through the growing pains, the queer growing pains of not knowing what I am, and I'm learning. So just please, please be nice. It's already embarrassing enough. Thank you. I mean, listen to the way that I talk. Is this how a straight person would talk? Like, no. I'm so goddamn gay. It's like in my genetics. I swear to God, that's what this is about. So this episode is about me as a kid, spinning in my chair, and this neighbor girl. Oh my god, this is the funniest shit ever. This neighbor girl only lived next to us for a short period of time. Because our neighbor was this, like, older gentleman who was like not a good person, like really not a good person, and he would like kind of like cycle through girlfriends like on the regular. He was like kind of annoying in that sense, like he just could not commit to a relationship to save his goddamn life, which meant a lot of random people were coming in and out of the house right next to us, and sometimes there would be random children there. And at one point this girl lived next door who was exactly my age. And I was like, oh, cool, neat, we should hang out and play because we live right here. So one day after school, she's like, oh, let's go play at my house. I'm like, okay. And we go. And she locks us in the closet, alright? Not locks. Locks is a strong word. She shuts us in the closet. It's still a fucking hilarious metaphor. My life is hilarious at some points. We are in a closet. I just want you to understand that. Think on that real hard as I tell you the rest of this. Okay? We're in a closet. And this little girl is like, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna practice kissing each other. So when we kiss boys, we'll be really good at it. And I'm like, whoa. That's the best idea ever! I've never thought of that. I never thought of kissing other people to practice kissing boys, because I definitely am supposed to like boys. I have had no interest in this up until this point. I am almost 7 years old, and I still have not remotely thought about this kind of stuff, even though it was being pushed on me by every adult ever. I still was like, huh, I've never kissed anyone before. Maybe I should practice. Good idea! And me opening up the closet like, y'all are both lesbians. I swear to God, if this kid is not a lesbian now, I'm gonna flip. So yeah, I like straight up just kissed this girl. We were kissing like in the back of this closet. Unattended, but 2 unattended children just doing that. And I'm like looking back at this memory, and this recording was in me in real time reacting. Because this last part was just, it was supposed to be me being like, I was honestly gonna make a jab at my parents for this. I was gonna be like, I can't believe I was left unattended for so long, to the point that I just straight up was just like, walking straight up out of my house, going into another house, and doing gay things with other people. And they never knew, and they never found out, and it's so funny. And I was gonna make a comment about that, but then I just started freaking out like I was 6! Kissing girls! And I thought that was way funnier, and I'm like screaming, and then the lesbian flag takes over, and I'm like, this is so funny, man. Oh, man. And yes, just so you know, the little squirrel girl is the lesbian flag colors. I did that on purpose. It's very intentional. I should know you were gay. Literally. Dizzy too. How did you know you were gay? I just am. I can't explain that. Sorry guys, I just woke up one day and was like, I'm gonna kiss girls. When I was 6. So this is like the funniest queer story I have, I feel. I feel like this is like the epitome of queerness. Like, I feel like every queer person has a story like this. Oh gosh. Okay, the next episode is Catch 'em All. It's about one of my favorite fixations. And I gotta take a jab at YouTube here. YouTube, an intellectual, is like, hey Hawley, this video is definitely made for kids. Therefore, we switched it to made for kids. Against your will. And now if you want to change that, you have to go through a very lengthy form and process. And I'm like, YouTube, this is not for kids. None of this Persona project is for kids. I don't want them to watch this one episode and then think they can watch the rest, because they can't. Oh my god!
Sorry I'm late. Have some money's greater than
Gummy
3.
Gumdrop! You're literally so famous in my live stream right now. You're so famous for that. You come every single time. You're so real for this. Oh my god, thank you. I love that for you. Gummy Gumdrop! Your name is so fun to say. I just can't stop. It's so fun, man. Thank you. But, yeah, YouTube did a really janky thing of just literally locking me out of the setting of turning this off for children, and I'm like, so annoying. I'm like, if you're a child, please leave. You're not welcome here. I'm sorry. You're not supposed to be here in this project specifically, because it is not for children. It is not for children. I don't know why YouTube decided to make one episode for children, but it drew in a ton of 10-year-olds, and I'm like, dude, they can't be seeing the rest of these episodes. I talk about some really serious shit. This is not gonna go down well. We're not doing that. No, no, no. I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, I'm just... YouTube. I'm fighting YouTube on this episode. But I just remember, like, going to the store and picking out a random toy, and I literally had no idea what Pokemon was, and I love this wild child running in a circle, like, on all fours, like a rabid animal. Like, that was such a fun animation of me, because I would run around my living room, like, full speed, being like, I'm Bumblebee from Transformers! I'm Bumblebee! I'm Bumblebee! And I'd be, like, running around like a freaking crazy idiot. And, like, I just loved trying. It's so funny. She's just going. Oh, God. It's so cute. But yeah, my parents, luckily, just did not give one crap about what I liked. And I played with Teen Titans and superheroes and race cars. And Pokemon was no exception, man. At the point in time when I was alive in the 90s, Pokemon was very much like a boy thing. It was, like, for boys. It was very, like, not for girls for some reason. I don't know. Later, I feel it got very much like just gender neutral, if not more geared towards girls now, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, so this is like me finding my new obsession, and I'm gonna tell you about all these little toys. Oh my god. Salmon's Pikachu and Minun were my first action figures. I had a whole family with Raichu and Pikachu, Minun, Plusle, all those types of Pokemon. That was like a whole family. We had a family of the Piplup evolution line. So we had a little Piplup, an Empoleon, and a Primplup. They were the police officers. It was Officer Empoleon and Officer Primplup and their daughter. And then we had a Darkrai and Corellia. Darkrai was the sequel dad to Corellia. I don't know what that was about. We had a Wobbuffet who was like just like the classic dumb idiot character, and then we had this Bonsley who literally could never stop crying. We had a Lugia and her baby Lugia, and she was like kind of high-key evil. Like, I don't know why the mom was so evil, but Mama Lugia was straight up like a super villain. I don't know. And then we had Cherim, who was the nurse. She was like, she ran the like Pokemon Center, because we didn't have like a Chansey, and she was kind of close, I guess. And we had this sweet little Bidoof, who was just like this country boy. So here, that was some of the Pokemon characters. I will definitely go... I'm stopping dead in my tracks. I swear to God. Stop it, gamers. Stop doxing yourselves. For the love of all God, please. I'm not even begging at this point. Just, mods, if someone brings up their age, they're done. Like, at this point, we are done. I am so sick of it. I can't focus on what I'm trying to do because you guys are being stupid. Just stop being stupid for 5 minutes. You don't even have to talk. You don't have to say your age in the chat. Why are you all doing this? Like, please. Oh my God, I shouldn't have to repeat myself so much. I'm only 2 hours. I've had to say this like 4 times. For the love of God. Be safe online. Oh my God. The lack of privacy on the internet is terrifying. Why do you guys feel the need to share so much personal information? I understand that I'm doing it, but I'm doing it with a purpose. This is me telling my life story. This is in context to my content. Otherwise, I don't go into random live streams and be like, "Hi everybody, I'm 26 years old, I'm a lesbian, blah blah blah, here's where I live, you want my credit card information?" Like, are you serious right now? Like, oh my God, okay. Relax. Relax. I am getting very mad. The song right now? Oh honey, I have no idea. I'm listening to a massive playlist currently. I could not tell you. I know it's one of the fairy fountains from Legend of Zelda. It could be Ocarina of Time. Slow and reverbed. That's might be my guess. Anyways. I will not address this again. I'm ignoring this from this point on. You're getting too much attention, and that's why you're doing it. Because if you are responding to it by telling your age, you're obviously a fucking child, because you're like, oh, I'm gonna do it to make them mad and get attention. Which is exactly what children do. So stop. No more. Alright guys, anyways, back to Pokemon. I'm trying to talk about Pokemon. So we had a Minum character who was a bomb. By the way, she's trans. She's trans. One of my very first characters I ever made was trans, and I'm so happy about this. And she's so fucking slay for that. I love her. Slay, Minum. And then we also had, Puzzle and another baby Minum. They all had this, they were all named after whatever Pokemon they were. They never had, like, names, which is sad. And then Minum eventually lost one of his ears, sadly. It, like, broke off. And so, he was actually disabled. Like, he, like, couldn't hear. So we had, like, this whole plot line of, like, Cherim, the nurse, was trying to, like, save his ear. Like, we had gotten super glue. My dad had, like, tried to super glue his ear back on. And his ear wouldn't stay on, and we were like, oh no. He'll never hear again. And then, like, Puzzle was like, it's okay. We'll write to each other, and we'll draw pictures. And they were like, they used art to communicate. Which is, like, so slay. I'm like, oh my god, the representation my old stories had was so good. Like, wow. I was, like, so impressed by my younger self because, like, I was raised in a very, very obviously close-minded small town. And, like, the way that I, like, viewed these characters was so, like, pure and wholesome. And I was just so, like, yeah, well, usually Minums are boys, but our Minum is gonna be a girl. She's a girl now. Also, he's gonna have a hearing disability, but that's okay. We'll still find ways to love and communicate. And I'm like, wow, holy shit, Wild Child, I'm so proud of you. Like, she's awesome. She's a great, great storyteller, man. Like, and then we had this silly Raichu, which I think I explained on a previous live stream where I was working on this episode live. This Raichu has a chicken leg obsession. He loves chicken legs. That was his whole- he's the weird Uncle Raichu. And the reason why we made him obsessed with chicken legs was because we had other action figures of this exact Raichu. And for some reason, like, you know how you can move parts of action figures? Well, the legs would pop off of the other Raichus. Like, the legs would not stay on. So we just had him pretend to eat the other legs of the other Raichu. So that it wasn't chicken legs, it was just straight up the other Raichu's legs that we would pretend were chicken legs. And I'm like looking back at that and I'm like, Wild Child, you had the audacity to have trans and disabled characters. And then you also had cannibals. Okay. Alright, Wild Child. Yeah, you're living up to the name for sure. What? Like, it's just that, it's the dumb, like, it's the kid thing of not understanding that at all. And it's just so funny to me, man. I love it so much. And then we had the dad who was just Pikachu. We had this sassy, like, teenage girl Pikachu. And then we also had a really tiny Pikachu. And I'm laughing here because I thought it was so funny that they were all named Pikachu. Like, every one of them was just named Pikachu. And it's so cute, and we had this whole thing of lore set up around them. It was so cathartic to draw all these characters as an adult and be like, they're characters. Like, these are the first characters I ever made. And like, I think it's so sweet that I got to have that, and I loved them so much. And then I grew to have an obsession with like needing more. And I'm just gonna tell you right now, these 3 action figures being on the floor is foreshadowing. This is foreshadowing. I'm not gonna spoil what is foreshadowing, but the Officer Napoleon, Corellia, and Darker Eye is foreshadowing. And if you're in the PetPyves Premium server, I have dropped a hint about this. This is foreshadowing of something quite silly that will come up later. Okay, moving forward at a breakneck pace, dashing hope, putting fear in its place. A rose by other name just as sweet. When everything's worse, our work is complete. Jesse, James, Meowth, that's right. Sorry. We're on Pokemon. My brain took over. Now we're gonna move forward to a different episode. So, let's go and do the episode called Rescue, which is honestly one of my favorite memories with my little brother that I like to tell people because it's so funny, dude. Not me saying the whole Team Rocket fucking slogan, whatever. That's what that was. That was me reciting the Team Rocket slogan for anybody who doesn't know. So, this is a story about how my brother was so angry as a child. He was so upset all the time. That little man was so mad, dude. He was so mad. He was such an angry little tot. I don't know what he was so mad about. But, like, one time I was like, no, I'm building with the Thomas the Tank Engine. And he got so mad, he stormed out the front door. And I was like, oh, whatever. But, okay, one thing I do want to know about this background is this right here. Let me get a thing. That's not red. That stained glass is so important. There is this on my front door. This house that we are currently in Wild Child's era, with the checker tiles and everything. The house that she moved into, like, when one of the very first episodes of Persona. This house was previously owned by my grandparents. My nanny and papa. And, they had this stained glass, like, handmade, and put onto our, like, front door area. And so it was basically of these 2 birds. And the 2 birds were these pet macaws that my grandparents had and really cherished. They had, like, passed away. Like, the macaws had passed away before. Well, one of them made it a little while into my life. I got to meet one of them, but they were really old by the time my grandparents had them. And the macaws' names were Benji and Hawley, actually. Ironically, when I was saying Hawley. And I only got to meet Benji. And Benji was a green macaw, and Hawley was a red macaw. And they could talk a little bit, they just preferred to scream mostly. Benji would meow at me. Benji would meow. It was really funny. And so they had these birds they really loved. So they got this, like, literal stained glass, like, piece of these birds that are on the front door. And it was just something that was just a part of my childhood home. Was how beautiful when the sun came through that stained glass. How, like, beautiful it shined into the house. And I just wanted to talk about it because it's just, like, this little detail that I really love. And, like, how much I love animals and how much of an impact they have on our lives. And even though I barely got to meet the birds, they were still such a staple of my childhood home. Like, they're just there, and I love them for that. But yeah, Rocky storms out of the house. I look out the window, and he's wheeling his little Hot Wheels bike into the street like a crazy person. And he just straight up was like, with the intention to go out there and die. The kid was going out there to freaking be like, I'm sitting in the road, I'm done with this. Like, bro was like, what, 3 years old? Dude! My brother, oh my god. So Macho's having this freak out of being like, oh my god, get out of the road. And he's just sitting there. He would do this a lot, actually. He would do this a lot. Like, this was not a one-time occurrence. I just have to let you know. This happened on many occasions. He would just go out there and sit in the road when he was mad, and I was, like, freaking out because a car was coming, and I, like, grabbed him and yanked him. And, like, the car was not going very fast, obviously, but, like, to me, I was like, this is a real danger. Like, I had to save my brother's life on a regular basis because he had anger issues. And I saved his life, and Mild Child's like, ugh, wow, he didn't even thank me. And this quote is a direct quote. I found an old notebook of, like, this little journal I used to keep from, like, 2008, 2009, from Wild Child's era, and she wrote in it, I quote, what a spoiled brat he turned out to be. Like, at my brother. Like, she quote said that. She wrote that, word for word. What a spoiled brat he turned out to be. I'm like, ah! So funny, dude. She's so sassy. Like, the Blackbird is coming out so strongly. Like, look at them. Oh, God. It's adorable. I love them so much, man. I'm like, looking back at my inner child and my brother's inner child, I'm like, we are so silly, dude. We're so funny. Yeah. No, I don't let my brother live this down. You're absolutely right, Daisy Turn. I absolutely do not let him live this down because it's funny that I've had to rescue him so many times. And nowadays the big joke is like, he just sighs and he's like, you shouldn't have done it. You should just let me go. You should just let me go. And I'm like, man, you can't say that. Oh my god. My brother's crazy, y'all. If I ever get him on a live stream, I don't even know what to warn you about. He's just... he's me, but funnier. Like, everyone ends up liking him more than me. For a very good reason, because he is very funny. Gosh, yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes to animate. It was so hilarious. And just such a fond memory. Alright, now I'm gonna talk about something a little different. I'm gonna put up a content warning specifically for people who aren't really okay with, how do I even label this? How do I, what kind of content warning is this? Living vicariously through your children and forcing them to do a extracurricular activity that they don't want to do. It's a very specific thing, but it's a very triggering thing if you've gone through it. You don't like seeing it. You don't like seeing it. This is about being, like, in dance class against my will. And this is the one about my mother, like, only loving me in this one circumstance because I was doing this thing. It's a little more serious. Sorry, wait, if the math ain't mathin' on the Blackbird thing, I apologize. I might have been Blackbird's era, I'm not sure which year it is at this point. I'm so sorry. All I know is that I have a notebook from somewhere close to Wild Child's era that said that, and it was really funny. Anyways, yeah, forced humiliation, there you go. Being forced to do something against my will entirely, like something I didn't want to do. Thank you, Dan. That's a beautiful thing to say. Thank you, moderators. If you just have something random, maybe just keep it to yourself. Maybe if it's not on topic, don't chat about it. Alright, guys, so yes, main thing I strongly dislike about the circumstance I was in being forced into dance class, was the fact that this dance routine I was in was my mother's favorite. It was me in a very weirdly kind of skimpy outfit. It was like a feathery, like, sequin, most uncomfortable, scratchy outfit of me in this bunny costume, which is a little weird, I will say, to put a small girl in. If you think about it hard enough, it is a little weird, because of, you know, sometimes adult people wear bunny costumes, and that's a whole other thing, and I don't know how I feel about that, you know? So yeah, thinking about that makes me feel a little uncomfortable, in one way, being majorly exposed in front of a bunch of people, at a young age, which is just a fun, reoccurring theme for me. Not only that, but it was the only time that I had to have my hair done. You want to talk about autism meltdowns? You don't want to even know the meltdowns I would have trying to get my hair up. Thank you, Day, exactly. But the other thing is that the songs they had us sing were intentionally crafted songs to where they would feed on our lisps, on our inability to talk correctly yet, because we're so young. These songs were specifically for young children to sound extra cute when they couldn't pronounce it right. This whole ordeal sickens me. Sickens me. Like, they were like, oh, it's so cute, and I'm like sitting up there trying to sing the Rascally Rabbit, and I'm singing Wascally Wabbit because I can't talk? And that's their fault that I can't talk? But they think it's cute when I do it on stage and dance for them in my weird little costume. You know, the whole thing is weird. Weird behavior on the adults' behalf. I think this is weird and disgusting. Personally. So I hated every goddamn moment of this because my intuition was like, hey, something's really wrong. And my mother loved this, and that's why I'm like trying not to strangle her in this one shot, because she's a dance mom. She's a dance mom who made me go into my little like bathing suit like outfit. I don't remember what they're called now. Leotard? I don't know. Something like that. Little dance outfits and basically be completely goddamn exposed in front of a bunch of adults and like get humiliated on a regular basis. And I was mad! I was so mad! I would go into these things pissed off! Because, first of all, we had to fight with my hair for like an hour before, and I'm screaming, I'm crying, I'm like getting my ass beat beforehand. Like, not fun, man. She was forcing this so hard onto me, like, I hated the costumes, I got bullied by the other kids, to the surprise of goddamn no one. Obviously, the music was overstimulating and loud, the teachers were not nice to me. Because I wasn't listening, because I was so overwhelmed I could not respond sometimes. I would go nonverbal, and then they'd be like... I got labeled as disturbed. In this class, by the way, they called me the disturbed kid. Yeah. Because I was autistic and extremely overwhelmed and having a horrible time, they decided that I was just simply disturbed. So yeah, again, best adults on planet Earth. 100% loved that. That was sarcasm. And then I have this little quiet scene of Wild Child being like, you know, like, oh, what, I'm supposed to be grateful because my mom didn't get to do stuff like this when she was a kid. Because that's what was drilled into my head, was that, oh, like, I should be grateful. I have an opportunity that my parents never had. Like, they never got to do dance classes. I should be grateful. I should be grateful. I should be grateful. And that is all I was ever told. I was always told that I should be grateful. And that was just kind of the part of the gaslighting I went through, was just, well, I didn't get to do this as a kid, so you should be grateful. You're such a brat for not wanting to do this. And, like, I would always be guilted and shamed. I just want you guys to understand, the main core wounds that I have, that I show on a regular basis, are guilt and shame. And this is why. Because I was constantly treated like this. And I had to suffer through it. I would sit there and talk about how my toes would bleed from the tap shoes. I was physically, like, suffering from this on all aspects. Emotionally, mentally, physically. Like, I was just suffering on a lot of levels with this. And I did it for a few years. I argued. I fought my way through. Finally, I got put into something else. Because I eventually got so rebellious, and I got so fed the hell up with it, that I eventually just started to refuse. I would be sitting in the corner, and then they'd be like, oh, the disturbed kid isn't reacting, the disturbed kid, we can't get her to do anything, blah blah blah. And, like, I was so goddamn tired of being called that. Because I wasn't disturbed. I wasn't, like, mentally ill. Like, I was just autistic, and I had different support needs, and everyone was abusing me, and maybe I had enough. Like, that doesn't make me dangerous, doesn't make me disturbed. Like, it was so wrong, and I know this now as an adult, but as a kid, I was just so helpless. And so, eventually, after I had, like, finally rebelled enough, my mother had realized, like, oh, this just isn't working, and you're just embarrassing me, is what I was told, is that I was embarrassing her. I was embarrassing her in front of everybody because you weren't doing what you're supposed to do. So then I got put into gymnastics, and boy, oh boy, let me tell you how much I loved gymnastics, man. I got to jump into that giant foam pit! If you know what I'm talking about, you know, dude. The one with all the foam shapes you got to jump into, and it was just like a ball pit with like, foam. Oh, man. And I get to do the zip lines. I get to do, like, all sorts of cool acrobatics, and, like, I used to love gymnastics, dude. And, like, Wild Child had so much fun. She had so much energy. It was just actually the perfect place for me, because they didn't play music. It wasn't a performance. It was just, go have fun and let me teach you some cool tricks at your pace. And it was so much more better for me. How many socks did I lose? All of them, dude. History nerd, like, all of them, dude. It was so much fun, and, like, I feel like that this was just the right thing for me as a kid. Because I didn't like sports because of the performance aspect of it. I didn't want to win trophies. I didn't want my parents to force me and push me, and I didn't want to have to win or lose. I just wanted to have fun. And everything else came with some kind of, like, expectation. So I never got into sports because of that. Because of how the expectation with dance was so intense. I was just, like, so relieved when I got to go to gymnastics, and I loved it so very much. And then this is a tiny bit delving into my OCD habits. The only thing my mother seemed to care about was the germs. It was like, we went through this really, like, kind of bizarre routine after gymnastics where I would have to, like, completely, like, all my clothes went to the wash immediately, and I had to take a bath immediately, and, like, down to, like, the car seat in the car had to be disinfected in everything. Like, the like, germophobia was really extreme, and I feel that this is just, like, some aspect of, like, my parents' trauma response. I don't know what that was about, but it was very extreme, and I do remember being, like, a little off-put about that, because I wasn't worried about that. But them worrying about it started to make me worry about it more as an adult. So, like, this is a prelude to some things that are gonna come up later, for sure. And then this is the important part of the episode. This is the part of the episode that absolutely broke me. Because it's Wild Child, and she's like, Mom, look what I can do. And she does this little, like, handstand. And then she's, like, looking, and Mom's not there anymore. And then she's feeling bad about the choice she feels she made. Because I was in control for the most part. I decided to sit out of dance, and I decided that I wasn't going to do it anymore, and I was going to rebel. And then when I got what I wanted, and I was happy, I was punished. So this is the cycle of abuse. This is what it's like to live with a narcissist. If you don't understand that, I hope you do now. Because this is exactly what it is. The narcissist wanted me to do something. I did it for a long time. She gave me so much praise, she gave me so much attention, she gave me so much love than I've ever gotten in my entire life. And then the second that I wanted to do something else, complete shutdown. Complete shutdown. It was like love bombing, no more. You're not doing what I want? No more, no more, no more. And then Wild Child developed this kind of guilt and this kind of like regret that, maybe I shouldn't have done gymnastics. Mom doesn't love me anymore. Because I'm happy. And when I'm happy, Mom's not happy. That's what I learned. Like, I had to sacrifice in order for my parents to be happy. There was no way we could all be happy at the same time. And that is the reality of that. And I know there are some people who watch my videos who are narcissists. And I understand that this is a very trauma-based disorder. Narcissism comes from a lot of severe trauma. My mother was extremely traumatized. I understand this. And I'm not saying, like, all narcissists are like this. I'm just saying this is a general something that I've noticed in all of my years of going to therapy for this. And I genuinely disagree with the idea of treating narcissists like monsters, like irredeemable monsters that we should run away and hide from. Narcissists are people. They're just very broken people. They're still people, though. And I don't want people to kind of walk all over narcissists, be like, yeah, we hate them, yeah, because, like, at the end of the day, they have a mental disorder. Just like I have several mental disorders, but I'm not a monster. They're not a monster. They can redeem themselves. It's just a lot more difficult because of their disorder, but it's not impossible. And I'm very, very tired of people treating narcissists like they can't get help, and that they just need to be something that is avoided. Because, for me, that was my mother. I can't avoid my mother. Like, how am I supposed to avoid my mother when I'm dependent on her as a child? That was not a possibility for me. So, trauma does not excuse their actions, of course. Nothing excuses their actions. They're still being bad people. Sometimes narcissists aren't. Sometimes they aren't, okay? Not everybody is going to be the same. This narcissist, however, in particular, my mother, was an extremely harmful person. Physically, mentally, emotionally abusive. And this is just my experience with the narcissist in my life, who happened to be the person that gave birth to me. I could not run away from her. I could not do any of these tactics that people say, oh, this is how you deal with a narcissist. There's no dealing with a narcissist, like, when they're your parent. It's very different. I did not have a choice but to be around this person. So, just as a heads up, I saw a lot of people getting, like, really upset at me because I said, oh, the narcissist, as, like, a derogatory term. And I say that just in context with my mother. because she had a habit of calling everybody else a narcissist, so I liked calling her the narcissist. I would say it to her in my older eras all the time. I'd be like, you're the narcissist. And it's not so much an attack on all narcissists. I'm making a very personal jab to my mother, and it is just enjoy your shit. Thank you, Koi. But yeah, it's just, I want you guys to understand that, like, my perspective on narcissists is not just, like, hateful, okay? I'm not a hateful person. I try to love everyone and see everyone for who they are. And I love everybody in every way, shape, and form. And I understand that some people are more hurt than others and have bad ways of dealing with it. Okay? I don't want people to watch my videos and feel like the monster. Or that they're the villain of my story. Because it's not you. You're not my mother. If you're a narcissist, okay, you're a narcissist. But that doesn't mean that you're my mother. My mother is a narcissist, but you're not her. Don't identify with her. Is what I'm saying. I just want that part of my audience to understand that I see you and I understand you very deeply and I feel very much for you, and I just don't want you to be labeled incorrectly because of the way that I'm telling my story. Okay? I'm sorry if I made anybody with NPD feel bad in any of the way that I'm explaining things. That's all. I just want to apologize to them in case I made anybody feel bad or less. Because that's not my intention. I am directing this at my mother, not you. And I know that it's easy for you to misconstrue that to be about you because of the narcissism, and I apologize for that, but yes, it is not about you. This is specifically about the one person I have dealt with. So, just so we're clear, that's what this episode was about. It was about me understanding the fact that the narcissist did not give me attention until I did what they wanted. And when I stopped, I realized that I didn't know what I wanted at that point. I didn't know if I wanted my mom or if I wanted gymnastics. So, very conflicting and confusing times for Wild Child, but we'll move forward. I've been rambling a little. We have quite a few more to go, and I want to make sure we get to all of them. And I'm gonna keep the content warning up. I'm gonna go over this next episode very, very lightly, because this episode terrifies me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I am so utterly terrified of this episode. We're gonna talk about the hurricane episode. This is one of my deepest, darkest triggers. And I am so proud and brave for talking about this. This is the hurricane episode. Content warning for natural disasters, lots of panic, destruction, just fear, lots of fear. Okay, so, hold on, let me get a drink. Hydration check. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm gonna take a deep breath. I'm gonna stretch, because my body's so stiff. Whenever I bring this up, it hurts, it aches. Okay. Oh. Alright, so. I have an extreme fear of natural disasters. And I'm not telling you this so you can use this against me. I'm telling you this because I'm just being honest, and I need to get it off my chest, and I want to be less scared of it. But I have an extreme fear of natural disasters because I've been heavily affected by them most of my life. I have lived through some very, very scary things. And so, this is the story of one particular hurricane we had, called Hurricane Charlie. And if you were alive at that time, you understand that this hurricane, in particular, was pretty devastating. Because we had gone through other hurricanes before Charlie, and Charlie was just kind of the last, final KO blow. It was just, we had suffered through a couple prior, and then this one was just the one that did us in. And so, yeah, this is a big PTSD episode. The character in the background is Clockwork. She represents my complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And she comes up, like, on a regular basis. I'm gonna tell you, it's just gonna come up a lot. Sorry, I blanked for a second because I'm talking about traumatic things, and sometimes I can't think anymore. Oh god, what was I saying? Clockwork. Oh my god, I can't remember what I was saying. Oh dear. Okay, sorry, that doesn't happen often. Sometimes I literally start having, like, actual, like, problems, like, flashbacks and things, like, as I start talking about it. I'm sweating. Okay, hold on. Relax. Alright, it's not happening. So, Clockwork is a character that, she's got this little, like, clock on her face. She has 4 eyes, because PTSD has 4. But she's complex, so the complexity part is the dial in the middle. The little clock hand that spins around. Sometimes it spins out of control. Sometimes she kind of takes over, and instead of it slowly ticking at a normal pace, it kind of goes really, really fast. Or it just straight up goes backwards. Sometimes we'll just go all the way backwards, and it'll reel back, and all of a sudden I'm like, wild child again. And I'm terrified. And I don't know why. And that's kind of how I decided to depict my post-traumatic stress disorder. Is with this complexity of a character who is constantly there. It's time. It's ticking. You don't notice it in the background. You can kind of tone out the ticking noise if there's a clock in the room. Eventually it disappears. But sometimes it's all you can hear. Sometimes it's the only thing that you can hear, and sometimes it's so loud. And that's what PTSD feels like to me. It's like I constantly am reliving things. Sometimes quite quietly. Sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I remember that. And I'll solemnly sit there and go, that happened, okay, and then I'll move forward. But then there's other times where things happen and I go into just a panic attack. One thing that happens to me in my life right now is that I live in a pretty big city now, and they do test the weather sirens on occasion. And by on occasion, I mean weekly. They check the weather sirens weekly at a specific time on a specific day every single week. I have an alarm set on my phone 10 minutes prior so I can get headphones on and I can get really loud music going. Because if I hear those weather sirens, I can't breathe. I will just fall on the floor, I will start crying, I will start reliving a lot of stuff. And it's really bad. And it's one of my biggest triggers out there. I can't stand any kind of weather or anything. And so I have to come up with these ways to kind of cope with it until I have a better way of coping with it. Because PTSD is just like you're reliving something that's suppressed. Because it's safe enough to live it out now. It's like your body doesn't forget things. Your body remembers that things that happened. And because it was such a distressing thing, my life was in danger, I did not care to cry and freak out in that moment. I had to wait until later, and that is kind of how it works. That's kind of how PTSD works. It's just a small lesson on that. So, I depict her kind of as this clock that's always ticking and sometimes can go backwards. But there was this... I thought it was kind of charming in a way that during this whole scenario, a wild child's sitting in the bathroom eating goldfish, and like, they're like, hey, there's a tornado! Get in the bathtub, and I'm like, hey mom, you want some goldfish? And she's like, no child, get in the bathtub. And I think that's just so true to me, man. That was such a wild child moment, man. It is so funny to me that wild child was just like, you want some goldfish? Like, I'm loving this. I like having snacks in the bathroom. This is silly. And meanwhile, my mom is like, we are going to die. Because that's just kind of how Wild Child was until this happened. This is the moment where that changes. Because at first she didn't understand the gravity of the situation. Maybe the autism was getting in the way. Maybe I just didn't understand that we were in danger. Because so far, Mother Nature had not hurt me. And then all of a sudden, that changed. We got in the tub, and I was like, where's Dad? And my dad was trying to put a mattress up against the window because the boards that he had put up on the windows had come off. It was that strong. It was that strong of a storm and a tornado that it ripped the boards off of the windows, and my dad was trying desperately to cover the windows with the mattress in the bedroom, and the windows blew in. The windows blew in completely, and like stuff was flying everywhere, and the sound that it made, like, I can't describe it other than like maybe it's akin to like a possessed train. Like, it was just like this whirring sound, this like, and like the weather sirens are going, and I couldn't hear the weather sirens until that moment when the window shattered and the mattress fell, and it fell on my dad, obviously. In my eyes, I thought that man just dropped dead right there. I thought that just killed him for some reason. I was freaking at that point. Like, I was losing my mind. Because I thought that he was just gone. And then he came up and he was like, no, it's okay. And he brought the mattress over to us and put it over us. And that was by far the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Because we just straight up... That was it. Like, that was like... Well, it's happening, and the roof's coming down. We're done. Like, it was just, like, there was nothing we could do, and I had never felt so hopeless. Luckily, the roof did not come down. The window sure did. And we lost a lot of stuff. Like, their whole bedroom flooded. Like, the house flooded. It was just... Everything was destroyed. And after the aftermath... I had a lot more of the panicking that I cut out, mostly because I couldn't handle animating it anymore, I'm not gonna lie to you. I couldn't handle animating it anymore. But the aftermath was just so... It was just so devastating to me as a kid, because to me, nature was my mom. Nature was there for me. And this was the one time that it just... It was dangerous. Like, I had never known it to be so scary. It was like my sense of safety, like the only safety I had felt unsafe anymore. I felt so betrayed. Like, I just felt so, like, untrusting of yet another... I felt like I untrusted of another adult. Like, it just... It shook me to my core. I was never the same after this. I really truly argue that my anxiety began here. Because my foundation, my safety, my trust, anything that I thought I knew was just ripped out from underneath me. Quite literally shattered. Flooded. And destroyed. Like, this is where it began. This is where the trickster came into play, where my PTSD started. This event just rocked my entire world and everything I thought I knew. And that's why it carries on to every single era. Feels this fear. And I don't think it's gonna go away. Hurricane Charlie was the first of many hurricanes I have survived. It was definitely the worst. Irma was pretty bad. Irma was pretty bad for me. I know a lot of people made memes about it and stuff. It felt so horrible at the time when Irma came around and people were just like joking about it. But when you live through something like this, it's just not a joke. Like, you can't control Mother Nature, and when she's pissed, you get out of her way. Like, she has a wrath, and like, it was just terrifying to learn that so young. And it makes me really upset because I was raised in Florida, and I feel like if I was raised anywhere else, it wouldn't have been so drastic. But that's all I want to say about it. We'll move forward. We'll talk about some other light-hearted thing. Oh, that's the pea brain. Oops, not that. We're not going to that. We're not going that silly. We're not that silly. Let's go talk about Schoolhouse. We're gonna go into some of the more holiday-themed stuff, which is a little bittersweet. I just want to talk about how actually crazily complex this animation was for no reason. Like, all the lights flashing was just so crazy of me. I don't know why I spent so much time on this. Oh, man. Man, so, like, this one is about this old holiday tradition of going to the schoolhouse, and they had this really fun little towns and, like, roller coasters and, like, little, like, fake little Christmas tree things set up. Like, it was so great. It was so much fun, and I loved this so much. So I also wanted to pinpoint the idea that I would harass Santa for candy canes every year. Like, I never, like, they were always like, sit on Santa's lap and tell him what you want, and I would be like, ew, no, and I would never sit on his lap, and I would just straight up be like, I just want a candy cane. And they'd be like, okay, here's a candy cane. I'd be like, thanks, and then I'd, like, sharpen it into a spear. I never wanted to sit there and talk to that man. I'm like, ew, I don't like you. Oh, it's so funny though. I'm like, wow, child, you're so crazy. She's so crazy for that. And then this is her holding the spear. I drew the spear. If you don't do that to your candy cane at least once, you haven't lived. But my favorite thing about this episode was animating the little trains. There was these little, like, train sets that they would set up. This is the most autism thing ever, dude. But, like, I loved trains, and, like, they had all these little towns set up in all these different rooms of the schoolhouse, and you get to walk around and watch the little trains go through little Christmas towns. Ah, so much fun. And then they had these little themed Christmas trees that every classroom would get to set up. So, like, my class, we did this butterfly tree. So we all made paper butterflies, and we stuck them on the tree, and we made, like, a butterfly tree. So every class would contribute, and we get to make little, different kinds of trees and stuff. And it was so fun. It was just so much fun to do, and there was, like, this little roller coaster that I would watch. It was my favorite thing. I think it was, like, a Connects little thing. Oh, God. But yeah, this was, in the description of this video, I did include an extra story, if you ever read the descriptions. No one ever does, but if you do, you're very slay for that. The descriptions have goodies in them, I swear. But this episode was originally not about this. This episode was actually a sad episode, but it decided to not bring down the mood. But basically, like, my dad was, like, alcoholic. We should know this by now. And when I was really young... Ugh, this kind of sucks to talk. I'll put up the trigger warning just for a brief moment. I'm gonna talk about a really sad thing. How I learned about Santa Claus. I'm gonna talk about how I learned about Santa Claus. I'm not talking about wobble dogs right now. Please stop being stupid. This is clearly about Persona Project. I'll get to wobble dogs later. Basically, I was kind of, like, guilted. Basically, okay, one Christmas Eve, we spent Christmas Eve with my grandparent, my nanny and papa, every year. And one year, I was like, wow, it's getting really late. Dad, Mom, we gotta go home because Santa's coming, and if we don't get home soon, like, what if he misses us? What if he doesn't know we're not in bed? Like, and then he's like, oh, we don't get presents, you know, like all the songs say, like, he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, and I'm like, I'm not sleeping yet, it's like 9 or 10 o'clock at night at this point. I'm like, getting worried. I'm like, oh no, Santa. Like, begging my parents, like, can we go home? Can we go home? Can we go home? Little did I know, they were both, like, way too intoxicated to go home. So, we were supposed to stay at my grandparents' house because of that. Like, they weren't gonna be able to go anywhere, which, by the way, I don't know why my grandparents couldn't take us home. Like, hello? Like, what were they doing? Like, I don't know. Either way, my dad got really pissed off and decided to drive us home anyways, super drunk. And he was, like, basically, like, screaming at me, being like, Santa's not even real. Like, you're just risking our lives for no reason because you're living in a little fantasy world, and, like, was basically being such a jerk about it. It was, like, basically being like, we're, like, all gonna die in this car tonight because you want to go home and have your little presents because you're a brat, and, like, it was, like, so out of nowhere and uncalled for, because my dad doesn't, like, act like that, only when he's drunk, though. So he's, like, crazy for that, honestly. And then I was, like, crying on the way home because I was like, I didn't know Santa wasn't real. And I felt really bad about it because I was like, well, I didn't know that. And if I had known that, I wouldn't have made us go home. And, like, I've lost so much of my childhood whimsy because of that. Like, I lost so much, man. And then the thing is, like, my brother was super young at the time. He does not remember any of this, obviously. It was, like, 2 or something, like 3. So, yeah, I basically, at that point, just kind of looked at my brother and I was like, well, he doesn't know. He thinks Santa's still coming, so that's okay. And that's kind of what I turned this episode into. It's this kind of sad idea, but it's just, everything I lost I gave to my brother. Because it's all I had left, really, was to give him the hope and the whimsy and the fun and the best life that he could have, because I know, I just knew at that point, it just, my chance was gone. And for whatever reason, even though I was, like, 6 years old, I had this, like, innate nature to persevere and to give the best to others. Like, it's just, people can be just amazing, and I look at myself and I look at my child self and I'm just like, I have no reason to be so kind. But I looked at my own situation and I was like, well, I can make it better for somebody else at least. And that's just a part of who I am. And that's what I did for my brother. And so I would always hype him up for Santa and the elves, and I'd always make sure that he was gonna have so much fun, and throughout all of our eras, I took care of him. And I made sure that he had fun. Every holiday. It was always us on Christmas, and nowadays it's pretty sad because we live in different states, and we don't get to do that kind of stuff anymore. And he's all grown up now, and I'm all grown up now. And it's like this kind of bittersweetness, but I feel it was quite worth it. Out of everything that could have happened with the situation that I was thrown into, it's just, I look back and I'm like, you know, at least someone made it out a little better than I did. So, that was that story. A little solemn towards the end. A little bittersweet. Definitely a lot lighter toned than what it was going to be about, with my dad being insane. I just decided I was like, you know, some things are just a little too cruel to share sometimes. And I didn't want to act it out. I didn't want to write it out, so sometimes that's just what happens. Sometimes I just... Why do I keep depressing that goddamn peep ring? Get out of here, peep ring. Sorry. Man. But yeah, that was a rough one. Where's the stupid content warning? Go away! God! Sorry. Alright, we're almost done with the year. Thanks for sticking with me, gamers. It's been a long stream, but we're trucking along. We gotta cover it all in one swoop. We got this. So, next episode is cookies. It's another Christmas episode. We talk about Christmas cookies and how my nanny used to make hundreds of them for the neighborhood and we'd give them away. Wild Child shows off her sprinkle cabinet because, my god, that was awesome. And I tried this year very hard to remake these cookies. I made like 3 different kinds. And I still can't find the recipe. It's the one thing I didn't walk away with. I'm sad I never got the recipe. A little bummed, obviously. I didn't get the recipe. But one day I'll find it. And I'll be like, yay, I finally found it. Let's go. But Wild Child used to just love this tradition with all her little heart. And it's one of the few memories I have that are just so fun, and it's just... I love this animation of everyone being sick and dying over eating too many cookies. It was just so cute of us. And I love this silly animation of me. I'm like trying to grab one of the cookies and Wild Child takes it and then I get sad. Because I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Wild Child's the only one that has these cookies anymore because I didn't learn the recipe. So I only get to enjoy these cookies in my memories, and I think that's like a really fun kind of metaphor thing. Huh. Oh, it's so fun, man. But yeah, I'm just having fun with this episode up until this point when Wild Child's like, these cookies are from heaven, and Nanny goes, yeah, just like you, and I'm like, and Rocky, and they're like, yeah, sure. Little fun detail, my brother has this stuffed animal that is his tiger. It's named Tiggy. Tiggy is my brother's, like, stuffed animal that he's obsessed with. So, like, just as a hint, my brother would absolutely die if he made fan art of Tiggy, because that is, like, his childhood best friend. Like, seriously, like, Tiggy has been through everything with us. Like, his Tiggy is my Elmo. So, yeah, he finally got his little Taiki in the background, which is cool. I was so happy to finally start drawing Taiki in. But my family, for some reason, just decided to outcast my brother. Like, my nanny and papa just did not like him. And it was so interesting because I picked up on this as a kid. Like, I was like, something isn't right. And I shared everything I had with my brother at all times, forever, always. And I recognized that people were intentionally trying to forget about him. People were just treating him differently. And it was just like, even as a kid, I was like, why? And I noticed it, and I protected him from it as much as humanly possible, because I was like, well, people do this to me at school, but I don't understand why our family's doing it to you. There was no reason. And there still isn't a reason. There's just no reason. At all. There was just something about him they just didn't like, I guess. I don't know. I still can't describe it. They just decided to outcast him for reasons unknown. And, like, later in life, obviously, when we come out as queer and stuff, they really, really didn't like him. They tried to call him the black sheep of the family when he came out. And it's just the epitome of just, they wanted him to fail so badly, and it frustrates me to no end. But I made that vow. I was like, I will not make them let you feel like you're less. Every era, I'm gonna protect you. And I still do. Like, with all the success I've had with my YouTube, you better believe I'm sharing it with him. Like, we are both able to survive and be comfortable and pursue our passions in life because you guys just watch our stuff and support us. And, like, I can't thank you guys enough for that because, like, I'm not just, like, sitting here taking care of myself. Like, I'm taking care of him too. And I always will. Forever. Like, we are all we have. And it's like, I don't know why people are always like, do you still talk to him? I'm like, what makes you think I don't talk to him? Dear God, I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't talk to my brother. Like, I love him so much. Like, he is my world. And, like, I share every part of my world with him. He is doing so great now. He actually just got back from a trip to Canada. He's thinking of moving there, which is so cool. We're having such a good time now. Like, life is so amazing now, and we're so happy to have gotten to this point, and we suffered through so much to get here. But just know that all of the things that I am succeeding in, he is too, because we do practically everything together, for one thing, and another thing, I'm not the one to just not share with him. My brother does not have a YouTube channel. No, he doesn't do that kind of thing. But yeah, it's just, I love my brother, man. I can't get over it. I can't say it enough. I can make all these sweet little shorts every day of the week, but like at the end of the day, I'm never gonna express to you guys how much I love him. He's my constant for real. Okay, last 2 episodes. Let's stay strong. Alright, guys, we got the newspaper business. The best episode! Yes! I love the newspaper business. Let's go! And now I get to explain some little fun cameo things. In the background, on the newspaper that my papa is reading, is actually a couple references to something you'll see in a couple episodes from now. So the panel on the left is the golden puppy, which obviously we talked about the golden puppy in previous things. It was actually a missing poster, like wanted, like, if you find golden puppy, let us know, like little ad in my newspaper that I drew. Also, the thing on the right is a reference to our Littlest Pet Shop stories that we used to make, and it was these 2 cats named Alex and Sally. They were our characters. So that's like, it's a really fun cameo. It'll come up later, and you guys will see it. It's really funny. I hid so many fun cameos in this episode of like things that'll like foreshadow to like later episodes. But I'd always do this sort of thing. I'd always make talent shows with Buttons, our little schnauzer that was at Nanny and Papa's house. I'd make little shows and stuff and put on like performances and stuff, because like, believe it or not, despite the dance trauma, I really like acting, and I really like performing, when it's on my terms, of course. So I used to love this sort of thing, and I used to love to make it into a business, and this is the part where I was raised by entrepreneurs, and they very much shaped my mind for this sort of thing, and we had made all of this silly little newspapers, like with Dingy the dog on it, and like, I used to draw all these really elaborate things, and print on this giant printer, which I love this shot, it's so cute. And this is where my passion comes from, for making things. This is like where all of our passions for making cartoons comes from, because these are my first cartoons. And the fact that my grandparents supported me, so it was just so much fun, man. Like, I loved making this little newspaper company with my grandparents, and they just supported me all the way, and like, I can't thank them enough for that support, because it just shaped my future. As terrible as my grandparents could be, they won't redeem themselves ever, but they did have some good moments, you know. They did have some good moments, and I have to appreciate the good that they did put into my life. I feel like that's what I should focus on. This freaking Wild Child advertising Dingy the dog. This is... I made this stupid comic. It was so bizarre. I will tell you more about this comic. Okay, so this comic was called Dingy the Dog, and it's about this Jack Russell Terrier. And it was basically these... I had this, like, how to draw cartoons book. It was, like, a very standard, like, kids, like, draw cats and dogs kind of book. And so I was drawing these cartoons, like, right from the instructions of the book. I was learning how to draw them. And I spelt Dingy completely wrong, too, by the way. It's really funny. And, like, cause, like, if you don't put the E, it's dingy. And, like, dingy's like a boat. So, like, Dingy is, like, how it was pronounced. But I spelt it like dingy, and it's so funny. But it was about this stupid dog, and, like, his friends, and, like, there's this gray cat named Smokey, who is, like, this evil, like, annoying, like, mad, angry cat. And then there was a little bird, too, like, a little, like, parrot. I don't remember his name. And then, basically, the premise of the comic was that Dingy lived in the ice-making machine, in the fridge. Like, I bet that's not what you thought I was gonna say. But he lives in the ice maker. And he makes the ice in the refrigerator. And so when you ask for ice, it's him using his little dog paws and, like, digging into the ice cubes and, like, digging them down into your cup. And, like, I'd always imagine that when I would go and get my cup of ice from the refrigerator, from the ice machine, it would be, like, the ice falling would be Dingy digging the ice into my cup, and I'd be like, thanks, Dingy! I'm like, first of all, that also implies that he's really small. That he's, like, ice cube sized. Like, this comic gets more bizarre the more you think about it. It's just... It's so funny. I love Dingy, the stupid ice-making dog. Oh, it's so silly. But I just thought it was funny how Machan's like, I love Dingy, and then I grab it. Like, I love this animation, by the way. The, like, ah. And then I grab it, I'm like, Dingy? Like, why'd you name him Dingy? Like, why is he called that? That's so mean. Like, did I not realize that was, like, kind of a mean name? Like, oh, he's just kind of dingy. Like, so funny, man. Oh, it's so good, man. That makes sense why the enemy is Smokey. Oh my god, Dream Rose. I didn't even think about it like that. Maybe I did have more of a plot to this than I remember. Maybe Smokey did have fire powers. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? Smokey lives in the microwave! Oh, I love this. We're making up new lore. This is making Wildchild so happy right now. Yes! Oh, that's so good. Oh, Dingy. This is such a silly little episode. I love it. Brought so much smiles to my face. Alright, we got the last episode we're gonna talk about, and I'm gonna try and do this as quick as possible so we can do some Q&A at the end. Redo it. That's a good idea, honestly. Putting up the content warning, because we're gonna talk about, an animal attack. I'm gonna get a little gory in details, a little gruesome. It's gonna be, a little hard to talk about. I get attacked by a dog specifically, so just be warned, this is gonna be discussing some pretty gnarly events. Just be warned. So, Ozzy did pass away, unfortunately, which didn't affect me as much as I think it should have. As a kid, I didn't really, like, understand that concept quite yet. And my parents are very quick to replace Ozzy with this little dog, who I was told was an Italian Shepherd. My guy, that is not an Italian Shepherd. That was a Burmese Mountain Dog. I know that now as an adult, because I know dog breeds and cat breeds is one of my fixations. I'm just, yeah, that definitely was a Burmese Mountain Dog, for 100%. Like, there was no way that was an Italian Shepherd. I don't know where that came from. Upon reflection, I've looked at this, and I'm like, huh. My parents sure are smart. They sure know what they're doing. They sure definitely knew what they were doing. Anyways, so yeah, just for the clarification, that the dog breed is completely off. God. And the funniest part about this is that they didn't research the dog to the extent, like... Okay, listen. If you're gonna adopt an animal, it's such a big commitment. First of all. Second of all, you should be doing way more research. Like, they didn't research them to the point where they're like, yeah, it's an Italian Shepherd. When it was like a whole ass other dog, for real. Like, they didn't even know. And they still don't know. Like, it was just idiotic. Like, it was stupid what they did. And they should have done way more research. Because this dog was obviously aggressive and was just, like, chasing me, was biting me, and had regularly, like, literally hurt me on several occasions. I wasn't doing anything to provoke it. My mother was like, well, stop chasing him and stop making him, like, play so rough and stop. You're the problem. Like, I was always the problem because I was a kid and I was just being quote-unquote rough. And I was like, no, dude. that dog was just straight up attacking me, and you were just, like, making it my fault, and because you wanted the dog. So, anyways, more gaslighting. Eventually the dog did get taken away. But the stupid, dumb, goddamn idiots gave it away to somebody who I regularly visited. Like, that wasn't gonna be a problem. Like, that wasn't gonna be a problem, like, oh my god, dude. Like, seriously? I'm so annoyed about this. Like, I'm so mad about this because, they really looked at this and were like, you know what? We'll just give the dog away to them. Because, they won't do anything to our child there, obviously. Like, dude, are you stupid? God, anyways. So yeah, the dog was at a friend's house that I would go play Pokemon cards with, named Beetle. And by that point, dog was very big and grown up and was very large. Burmese dogs are huge. We're eating lunch one day, and by the way, these people did not take care of that dog. Just as a preface. Every adult and everyone in this scenario except for me was a goddamn idiot. And that's just the epitome of my life at this point. And this whole year is just me being the victim of everyone being stupid as hell. So, I was eating a PB&J, and I remember looking at this dog in the eyes. And for the longest time, for like most of my life actually, like, I would tell people, because I didn't want people to, like, I guess know I was autistic for a while, like, it was, like, kind of sad. So, like, Blackbird's era specifically, when I masked a lot, I was, like, telling people, like, oh, the reason why I can't make eye contact with people is because a dog, like, attacked me when I looked them in the eyes. And I got traumatized, essentially, is what I would tell people. When I can tell you, in fact, that it's just an autism trait in general. That I was doing that way before that, but whatever. I did have this kind of fundamental idea that, like, looking people in the eyes was now extremely dangerous because of this. I had this belief that, like, if I looked at them, I would be attacked. And I still kind of have this fear. I'm not gonna lie to you, I can't look at people in the eyes, but this moment of this dog looking at me just changed my brain chemistry, because it jumped up and it got me good. Like, not to get too gruesome, but my whole entire side of my face was gone. Like, it tore my lip. I have a permanent scar on the bottom of my lip. It's like one of the only ways, if you ever saw me out in public, you'd probably be able to tell who I am. Because I can't really hide that. It's a very defining factor of, like, my face, unfortunately. It's there. And it's annoying. But I try to look at it as a battle scar. I try to look at it positively. I try to go, oh yeah, like, you know, it's like cool or whatever, but enough at the same time. It's a permanent reminder that I was permanently scarred by the idiots around me. It was a really rough recovery as well, because of how much I was bullied! Yay! Because I had to wear a giant patch over my entire face and eye. And I was now even more blind than I already was, because, spoiler alert, we're about to get into the part where Wild Child gets glasses, because I've been literally blind my entire life, up until this point. So, yeah, I never saw my friend again after that. But the only thing I remember as a kid being so hyped about was getting popsicles from the hospital. I got these hospital popsicles, and I was like, yeah! Like, I was so hyped, man. I was like, let's go! I remember my dad was carrying me out, and I had a popsicle, and I was, like, over his shoulder, looking behind him as we were walking away, and there was a room full of sick kids, and they were all looking at me so longingly, and I remember evilly, as a child, this is so Blackbird of me, but I, like, took my popsicle and wiggled it in front of them like, ha. As we walked out, I'm like, Wild Child! You can't do that, Wild Child! That's evil! You can't do that! And they, I'm like, girl, you got your face ripped off. What do you mean, ha? Like, you shouldn't be laughing. Like, what are you talking about? Oh my god, she's insane! She's so crazy for that, dude. It was so funny. Oh god. So, yeah. All I cared about was the popsicles. We got the scar. And then this is an interesting thing. This is foreshadowing. This whole end sequence is foreshadowing. It's, PTSD response. Because I went around my whole life being like, that didn't scare me. I still love dogs. I love dogs. That didn't affect me at all. Like, he didn't mean it. It's okay. I went around my whole life pretending that this was just fine. And it was not fine, dude. Like, it is not fine. Like, this happened, and like Clockwork reminds me of this. And like, this part is very much like foreshadowing for when I get into Hawley's era. She becomes a pet store manager, and I get to deal with dogs all the time. And during that whole era, I had horrific nightmares about dogs attacking me. Like, I remember one so clearly was like, it was like all black, like there was no like anything happening in the dream. It was just the sound of being attacked by a dog. And I woke up screaming. And I'm like, yeah, haha, that didn't bother me. Dude, yes it did, I'm traumatized, what are you talking about? Like, it was just, this is so important to me that I exemplify the fact that Wild Child is currently being conditioned to brush it off. Because this is going to be my goddamn downfall later. Right now, in the current time, this is my downfall. Because Wild Child was just being taught like, oh, accidents happen, it's okay, you're fine. So then I walked it off. Which causes, you guessed it, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Because I just pretended it was fine for so long. And it's not fine. I was mauled by a dog. But no, we can't say that. We can't go to school and tell people that my parents let that happen. Because if I said that, I get taken away. And we don't want that. So it was just a whole lot of me nowadays dealing with a lot of the repercussions of suppressing this memory. I almost didn't make an episode about it because I just thought it was so insignificant. And I'm like, dude, getting mauled by a dog is not insignificant. What? Dude, I almost lost my eye. My face. Like, I'm really lucky the only thing I have is one little scar on my lip. Like, whoa, dude. Whoa at me trying to be like, I'm fine. I was not fine. This whole end sequence is the reality distorting and getting worse because I'm realizing that, like, the little fantasy that I've been living in, that all my family wants me to live in, where I'm fine and I wasn't mauled by a dog and I wasn't playing with dead kids' toys and all that stuff. Like, no, this is the reality, and then when the reality sets in, it's really distorting because I get very dissociative, and I don't like being in reality because of it. So, that was year 6, guys. That was year 6, and that was that's how that went. I'll pull up the bloopers. I'm not gonna go over them, but I'll just have it on the screen in the background while I do some Q&A. You guys can ask some questions now. I've been going off for like 3 hours, so like, I'm sure there's a lot you guys want to know about. So if there's anything else you want me to clarify or talk about, any questions you have, now's a great time. I will open up the floor for questions, guys. Thank you, Dizzy Toon, for saying that my fears and trauma are valid. I appreciate it. All fears and trauma are valid. We can't control what happened to us, but we can control how we move forward. I did survive. Hooray! Oh, it's drinking my Gatorade. My favorite Undertale character? Sans. Sorry if that's a classic cliche answer, but I love Sans, dude. And Gaster. I love WD Gaster. I like the secret characters. They're so fun, man. Alphys, ugh. When's the new video coming out? The next video that's coming out for Persona is extremely bad and triggering. It's like sunshine level triggering, okay? So, I don't know. I'm working on it. Maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday is my guess. Tuesday is gonna be your better bet. I'm definitely having a hard time with it. I'm gonna actually release another Brightside episode. I know we just had one, but I'm gonna do another one because I'm so fixated on it right now. And I'm getting a lot of good work done, and the episodes are getting really good because we're getting to the climax of the second season. So like, I'm gonna work on some more Brightside in between things to keep myself motivated and keep myself a little bit more sane and happy. Oh, Fizzy!
I just woke up. Hope you're doing good, Hawley.
Aww.
Here's some fry money.
Thank you, Fizzy! I mean, you missed all the sadness, which is kind of good, but you can always go back and watch it if you really want to know everything we just talked about, but hope you had a good rest. Thank you for the prize money. But yeah, next Persona Project episode is gonna be really intense, and I just have to forewarn all of you. Please pay attention to the content warnings. I'm like seriously begging you. Because the next few episodes are gonna be really, really rough for me to work on. Like, I've been bawling, and I'm only on the sketches, like, I'm bawling. It's just not fun, so I'm taking my time with it. We'll do other things in the meantime. If I can't end up getting the episodes done, we'll do more Wobble Dogs, we'll do more Bobble Dogs, we'll do Animal Crossing, and I'll do more designing videos, and we'll have other stuff. I upload super frequently, so don't worry. There'll always be a chance to hang out with me on live streams on Sundays, and we will always have other videos, even if I can't work on the episodes as fast as I'd like. There are some that I really need to take my time on. What's my favorite Littlest Pet Shop? Oh, Emma, that's such a hard one. I have to think about it. Well, obviously, I said my two in the, what I talked about earlier. We had two little cats. There was an orange cat, and, two orange cats, actually. They're both orange. One was a light orange, and his name was Alex, and we had a dark orange one, and it was Sally. They were like kittens. They were my favorite ones. Glad you guys are so obsessed with the Wobble Dogs. It's been so fun. I've been having so much fun recording that, so I'll definitely get back on that. We will go back to that. It'll be fun. My goal right now is to make 3 shorts a week, and 1 YouTube video a week, and 1 live stream a week. But sometimes it's a little hard to achieve the shorts thing when the shorts are, like, my life, and I'm reliving it, you know? So it's much easier for me to just say, oh, okay, let's take some extra time, let's just make a Wobble Dog video, and we'll relax a little bit, so I appreciate you guys' support on that, because it definitely is really hard to work on. Sanic, not many episodes left for Wild Child's era. We're down to the last, like 20 or 30 or so. It's more like, we have like, what, how many are we in? We're like almost halfway through year 7. Year 7's insane. We'll see. It's about 30 episodes, I'd guess, give or take, is where we're at. Not very much left. And then we'll be going on to Blackbird. Peeps is getting so much appreciation. I know! Fizzy is awesome! I love it. Oh, more fan art! Awesome, Berry Panda. Make sure you submit it on the link in the description. You can also do that even when the stream is not running. If it's just the VOD, you can also submit fan art there too. The link is always open. You don't have to wait until live to submit. You can submit it whenever you want. Oh, man. Let's see. I'm trying to find your questions. I'm sorry if I'm missing them, guys. I'm really trying here. How many episodes until season 3 with Brightside? Actually, we're like in the same range. We're like maybe 15-20 episodes out from season 3 of Brightside. Oh, Brightside's so close to being over. Oh, I'm gonna cry. Oh, I can't. So crazy. What is Peeves? Peeves is my own special little species I made named a devil mouse. He's basically a little cat, rabbit, kangaroo, bunny thing. Gummy Gumdrop!
Take your time. I'll be here to support
Let's
Smile.
go! Let's go, Gummy Gumdrop! Thank you, I appreciate you. What programs do I use? Check the descriptions of my videos. They're all there, always, every single time. I promise you. Blackbird seems interesting. I'm glad some people are excited for Blackbird. Some people are definitely off-put by her. They're like, oh, I am not gonna like her. And I'm like, huh. Yeah, you're either gonna love her or you're gonna hate her. There's gonna be no little in between there. Like, people are definitely gonna have feelings about her. She's bold, to say the least. Aww. Oh yeah, you did make a double. I love when people make OCs with my different stuff. Like if you make a Brightside OC or you make like a Devil Mouse OC, I'm like, ah, it's so exciting. It makes me so happy. Or a 12 OC. I love seeing people make Reapers. Oh man. Do you like the doughy cookies you get from Walmart? Like the really sugary frosting. I know which ones you're talking about, Lazy Artist. They're like the Loft House cookies. Dude, I used to be able to eat those. I can't eat them anymore. I have allergies. But, like, my brother is so mean. He used to call those cookies the quote-unquote kinda good cookies. So now I only refer to them as the kinda good cookies, where I'm like, they're kinda good. Like, they're kinda good. I think they're great, though. I have fond memories of them. Have I ever played Mario 64? Oh, Eclipse. Oh, honey darling. Oh, darling. You have no idea how much goddamn Mario I have played in my life. I have played so much Mario. It is distressing how much Mario 64 I have played, actually. Parker will tell you all about it. We'll wait for Parker to tell you about it. My favorite snack as a kid? Freaking Yogos, dude! Yogos!
Hey, just wanna say that your art is cool.
Oh my god! Thank you, hello there! That's so sweet of you. Thank you. So many people have been saying that lately. It's been very nice. I'm like, oh, thank you. People are like, your art style is so interesting. And I'm like, thank you. I really try to be myself in all aspects of what I do. My reason for making Wild Child a Frog, I say this like every live stream. I grew up in Florida around a lot of ponds, and I thought pond frog would fit really well because, you know, tadpoles have a distinct like difference between like a young frog and an older frog is like, oh, well, when they're young they're tadpoles and then they grow into frogs and they go through like literal metamorphosis. They transform into a different like land walking creature. And so I'm like, yeah, I feel that's pretty good for Wild Child, so you can indicate that she is a child in the design, but also I really love frogs. Frogs are a big part of my childhood. I spent my whole childhood catching frogs, so next episode of Wobble Dog's coming out? I'm not sure, Drum Bride. I do have a notebook full of like 100 names you guys have just suggested, so thank you so much for that. It'll be very fun to roll the dice and see what we get. I'm planning to record some more this week, though. Which means they'll come out this week or next week. I definitely need to get back to my Animal Crossing videos, too. I've got a couple things going on, so either way, I'll just feel what the vibes are and we'll play a game. We'll game together, don't worry. It's on the way. I've just been trying very hard to work on the animation side of things because I'm in a pretty rough spot when it comes to Persona projects, so once I get through these next few episodes, it'll be a little bit smoother for me. I'll be able to work on them a little bit more, so I use the video gaming videos as my break in between working on really heavy stuff. Do you like musicals? I don't. I apologize, Solar Eclipse. I don't. I'm not a musical person. I apologize. Why are Robin and Blackbird both birds? Oh, it's a great question, Wolfie! Oh, yes! Okay, I'm ready. Okay, so... Blackbird was a bird because I was in chorus throughout a lot of my later years in elementary school. And one of the big performances I got to do was a Beatles concert. And my favorite song was singing Blackbird. And ever since I've sang that song, I feel that it is a song that defines my soul. I definitely feel like I am a bird with broken wings, but I still have to figure out how to fly. So that's what Blackbird is. She is a little bird, and she can't fly. She has broken wings. Before I named it Persona Project, it was actually going to be called Broken Wings. And the whole reason why Robin is a bird now is because I did learn to fly. And I think it's very symbolic that I've returned back to being, like, exactly where I started. But stronger and better and able to do everything that I thought I never could. So, I'm so happy somebody asked that. Poison dart frogs are so good. No, I love poison dart frogs. Oh, I need to make a character that's a poison dart frog for real. That would actually be really cool as like a background character in Persona. I think that'd be awesome. Oh wait, I was supposed to be playing the animation in the background. Could just watch that. Sorry, I've just been yapping. My favorite era? Parker. Parker's era is my favorite currently. Looking back and reflecting on Parker's eras. It's so good. It's a piece I don't think I'll ever experience again. He's so gentle. He's so good. I love Parker. He's my baby boy. Cheez-Its or goldfish? Goldfish, dude! Goldfish 100%. Oh my god. I would kill for goldfish. All my friends are fruit. Also, all my friends are fruit. I loved your comment recently on Brightside, I believe. It made me very happy. I pay attention to the Brightside commenters so much because, like, you guys are my lifeline. I'm like, man, if you like Brightside and you're this far along and you're following this story, you're my best friend. Like, I love the Brightside fandom. Oh, I did think about adding my OCs into the background, but, I don't know. I feel like people might not take it as seriously then. Like, I feel like if like, May and Imp are in the background of an animation, they'll go, oh my god, it's May and Imp, and then they'll completely miss the point of the video. Like, I worry that it's just gonna draw attention away. I have thought about it, though. I really have. What are my pronouns? All pronouns. They, he, she, please. That order is most comfortable for me. She is not that fun for me. He is a little better, I guess. They is a little alright, I guess. It's just, I don't really enjoy pronouns at all, but I gotta pick them, so they, he, she. I'll use anything. You're not gonna offend me if you use whatever. It's fine. You can't really mess up. Like, you're good. So I don't really know right now. Oh, Fizzy, the next episode of Brightstar is gonna make everyone cry. It's so emotional. It's crazy. It's so crazy. It's such a 180. It's so 180, dude. Brightside is like whiplash. You get like the silliest things going on, and then you get like the most depressing things ever. Like the next episode, it's so funny. Can you make more bloopers? No? That's not something that just... I don't play in bloopers, unfortunately. Bloopers happen when they happen. I do them every compilation if I have bloopers, which I mostly do because I'm so... When I record, I swear to God, like, I just turn into a whole other person sometimes, and I just... People always wonder, like, why are you talking to yourself like you're multiple people? And I'm like, well, sometimes it's just, I get into character. I don't... Sorry, guys. Oh, God.
Open up my eager eyes. 'Cause I'm Mr. Brightside.
Yeah! Sachikoko. Mr. Brightside. Let's go. Bloopers are happy little accidents. Exactly. Oh, goodness. If you start watching Brightside, it is so fun. I can say it is the most fun I've ever had with any project I've ever done on my channel. It is a TTRPG, though. It is an adult show, though. It definitely has content in it that I would not recommend to young audiences. It says at the beginning of every episode. There's a very specific content warning. But yes, I do love my Brightside. I do recommend it. If you can sit through, you know, kind of podcast RPG style kind of stuff, it is a fun watch, and I do my best to make the visuals appealing and interesting, so even if you don't feel like you could just listen to like something like that, you can watch it and it'll still be entertaining. But yeah, I'll answer a few more questions and we'll wrap up. I'm sorry, Koi. I'm sorry if I'm like going insane today. I just needed to catch up from the last few streams I missed and make sure we cover all of our bases with year 6. Because it was a big year. Big year. Boo bye. Aw, gotta love those teens with superpowers they probably shouldn't have. Lol, you're so right. Oh, if you love TTRPGs, you're gonna love Brightside, because we take all of the annoying math out of RPGs and we straight up just, we use it as a structure to roleplay with. It is mostly just, like, improv storytelling. Like, it is very storytelling based. Favorite series ever? She-Ra, Princesses of Power. Favorite. Heart emoji. Love it. Alright, gamers. We will wrap up then. Everybody's like, I'm going home, I'm tired. And I'm like, that's fair, that's fair. We'll end it off on this, like, silly little, like, me with a hat with the funniest joke ever award. Number 1 silly. We'll end it there. How about that? Alright, gamers. Well, thank you guys for the lovely stream. Kind of annoyed that a lot of people were being a little insensitive at some points, but that's okay. We made it through. Made it through. But it's been great. Year 6 was a really big year. Big turning point for Wild Child. Her eyes really did open up to the cruelties of the world, and I feel she's handling it in every way that she possibly can, and you'll see how this develops more and more in year 7. Again, please be cautious with year 7. Pay attention to the warnings. It gets really heavy. It gets really heavy. And I don't want anybody to get hurt. So please just be cautious and skip episodes if you need to. It's okay. And thank you guys for all the support with Persona Project. It's been great. I've loved working on it, and the very minimal comments I get has been wonderful. The few that I get that are so wonderful. Thank you guys for being supportive. I'll do my best to be less attuned to listening to the bad comments. It's just something I'm working on personally. But I appreciate the support. Seriously, it's awesome that we get to heal and do better and share stories, and eventually when Persona Project ends, we'll be able to really just focus on storytelling. And just storytelling. And we'll be able to just have all that fun. And I wouldn't be able to get there without you, so I appreciate it. Alrighty, on to year 7 then, right? Let's keep on trucking, gamers. Until next time, I'll see you next Sunday for a live stream, and I'll see you in the next video this week. Bye-bye! Bye-bye! Boo-bye!
Boo bye. Boo bye.